You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent and Austen Show.
Oh, there's a look at the Golden Gate, and that is the host of Super Bowl 60. San Francisco, the Bay Area, really spread out. Santa Clara is where the game will be at Levi's Stadium, and where the festivities are really not close to Santa Clara. In fact, San Jose was where opening night, the media night was on Monday. And I think I saw one of the reporters say from where they were staying at either the convention center or nearby to where the opening night was about an hour and a half drive. And I remember that from being out there in San Francisco, very spread out. Still a pretty good host city, but you got to make some time for some travel in a Super Bowl like this, unlike Indianapolis or New Orleans and places like that. But the Super Bowl is off and running. The Patriots and the Seahawks in another uneventful, I would say, opening night, media night for both teams, because I think everyone's so used to it. I think you get a little goofy, but not a lot of goofy anymore. I don't think you have a lot of storylines like we were saying going into this week. That's just crazy storylines that people are feeding off. People know how to hold themselves, and you got a good look at some fresh blood at the Super Bowl. Brent Martineau along with Austen Lane, both of us on the road. Road to Daytona begins. Really probably began a little bit ago as the NASCAR season kicks off with the Daytona 500 in a couple of weeks. We'll have the president of the Daytona International Speedway joining us on the show in about an hour or so. We'll take a look at the Jacksonville Icemen. They have the school game today. We're missing that. One of our favorites, the second one, a lot of 6-7s going on in that crowd here this morning. Olivia Tassley will check in from there, so we'll give you a live peek at the Jacksonville Icemen trying to get back on the winning track. But let's begin with the Super Bowl. And Austin, I think we had a big theme of this yesterday. It's like there's not a lot of headlines. The hype train's not going to be big for this game. You got two new teams there with Vrabel and May. I know it's not a new team in the Patriots or Seattle, but these are two new, fresh blood kind of feel to this atmosphere and this scene. And yet I feel like they kind of handle it like they've been there before. I don't think anything's a surprise when you get to the Super Bowl now.
Yeah, nothing's a surprise. And, I mean, I understand that maybe it's not the sexiest matchup, but it's the Super Bowl. You can always find things to talk about. You can always find things to diagnose and everything. And I think, I mean, obviously Sam Darnold's probably the biggest story, but I just think we talk about both these franchises, a decade ago, they had great runs. They were well-respected franchises. They fall off for maybe 1, 2, 3 years. And all of a sudden, they're right back into it with new coaches, with new players. And I think it's a testament to ownership, number one. I think it's a testament to how those franchises are ran, right? So, it doesn't increase the likelihood of I'm going to tune in because these franchises are ran great. But I think being a football fan or having a team in Jacksonville, it goes to show you what you aspire to be of how they do things.
Some people just win, man, and that's kind of what I have a belief in. I said this yesterday. I think we tweeted out on one of the reels that we put on social media my thought on Trevor Lawrence. Like he knows how to win. He's won in his career almost everywhere. I feel like he will find a way to win in Jacksonville, and quite frankly, he's already won in Jacksonville 3 out of 4 years, which is a big mark for this franchise. But you mentioned it. These franchises know how to be here. They've done it before. Seattle is not as prominent as, say, the Chiefs recently or New England, but they've still been able to get back to this kind of game. Schneider's done an unbelievable job of rebuilding that team. And I don't know what it is, but I saw a graphic in the last couple of days, and it basically will be all the Super Bowl teams since really it might be all the Super Bowl teams. I think that's what it was. And so I counted back to the year 2000. I was like, okay, in the last 25 years, how many different teams have won the Super Bowl? And I think I got to 10. I think it was, because remember, the Chiefs now have won a few. In that time span, the Steelers won a couple. The Ravens kicked it off in 2000, if you wanted to count that year. And then the Patriots obviously won a bunch. So there were 10 different out of the 25 years that I counted. Well, I would think that would be different because of the Patriots run, especially, and the Chiefs. It feels like, hey, that's going to be top heavy. I bet if you go back 25 prior years, you'd get way more champions. Wasn't the case, Austin. It was still the Steelers, the Packers, those teams that are familiar with winning. I think it was about 10 or 11. So there's a little bit more in the previous 25 years, maybe 1 or 2 more. than the last 25 years. So it just goes to speak of what you just said. Some franchises know how to win. I don't know why. I don't know how you duplicate that. Do I think Robert Kraft's just unbelievable? I mean, I grew up and the New England Patriots sucked. Like, they were terrible. Bags over their head fans, could not win. I mean, it was brutal. They were blacked out on TV. I tell this all the time. That's not what they were. I don't know why it changed, but Robert Kraft bought the team. It started to change. He did something. Something changed. And obviously you got Brady and Belichick certainly helped out. So, I don't know what it is, but the bottom line is, over the time, at least in the NFL, you basically have 10 teams in a 25-year stretch that are going to win the Super Bowl, and the rest of the league just trying.
No, without a doubt. And it's crazy, right? Because to me, it starts when you win the first one, or when you start to taste success a little bit, and then that becomes the standard. And that's become the standard for both these teams. You have a team in Seattle that went to a couple Super Bowls, right? Won one. What happens? They fire their coach that essentially built it all, or they mutually parted ways, and then they get rid of their franchise quarterback. And I think a lot of teams that do that go back down to the basement, and maybe you never hear of them again for the next decade or so. And then in New England, it's the same thing, where it's like, okay, we talk about a team that had so much success with Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. Well, Brady eventually leaves, Belichick goes, and you essentially have one off year with Mayo as your head coach. That doesn't go well. You fire him in 1 year, you pay him his extra money, what he's owed, and then you bring in Mike Vrabel. Like, there's a lot of teams out there that wouldn't fire a coach after 1 year, regardless of how it looked like, right? Some would say that's not great business. But at the end of the day, that's what the Patriots did. So I think it's just two teams that had success that kind of reset their gold standard. And now there's expectations of how to run things, whether it's getting rid of a franchise quarterback, a head coach. It doesn't matter. Like, the only thing that matters is winning. And the only thing that matters, hey, Jay Beyer, by the way, two morons talking about sports. What does it say about you when you're listening to two morons talk about sports? It's a Tuesday. There's a lot of options out there, man. And you're stuck listening to us, me from Orlando, Brent Martineau in the car. What does it say about you, man? Go outside and touch some grass if you need to.
That's right. Yeah, we're off to a heck of a start here on a Tuesday with the
I'm just saying, man.
With the OJ commentary. All right, I want to touch on a lot of things. We'll continue to talk about Super Bowl week. Roger Goodell met with the media yesterday. I don't think that, again, headline-wise, I saw someone say, what was the Twitter? It's like, the post was, Roger Goodell did a great job of not making headlines this morning, in his presser. And I was like, well, right when the PR guy, Brian McCarthy's a good guy, and I think he was probably fist pumping when he read that, because that's the mission. I think when you have Roger Goodell, like, and you're in charge of Roger Goodell, or if you're in charge of somebody big in that setting, you're like, yeah, try not to make headlines. That would be good. The NFL doesn't need that. But he did have commentary on a couple of things, including a comment on Bad Bunny, who will be the halftime performance, but more from a
who he called Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny, yeah. Was it a good look?
I thought the biggest thing, well, there were a few things, and Hamby wrote them down, but the one thing was the refs, and he does this every year. The refs, a lot of people don't, everybody has a problem with the refs. The refs stink. The refs aren't getting it right. Every year he comes to this thing, he's like, we have the best refs in the world. It's an amazing job that they do. They are way better than everybody thinks they are. Like, I know the discourse, but if you really break it down, these guys do a tremendous job. He doubled down on that again this week. He said it again. But he did also say that they will potentially use more technology, and in this case, I think AI, as an opportunity to help the referees. And that could mean even a couple of calls like delayed is one of the things the NFL is kind of pitching around, where like we would say maybe the BW3 button right on that commercial, where you just kind of stop everything like, wait a minute, that was wrong, which I actually think is replay should intended to be, is like, hey, that is an obvious miss. You've got to fix that. So it sounds like he's happy with the officiating, and they're also going to enhance a little bit, which I think is probably music to the ears of a lot of fans, because at the end of the day, I can hate replay and everything else, but people want it to be right, Austen. And as the closer you can get to being right and not miss things, especially obvious things, I think is important to probably the integrity of the product, but also important to the fans.
Yeah, it's important to the fans. It just brings up the question of, do you run the risk then of slowing the pace down of the game, right? And
Right.
then does it get kind of bogged
College
down and everything?
basketball. Oh my gosh.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? And like I don't think it's fair to say, okay, well in the last, whatever, 3 or 4 minutes, then that's when we can start reviewing the calls because I mean, a call can happen in the start of the fourth quarter that can be monumental to the game, right? Like football is all about momentum and game flow. And I think if you're going to implement this rule and you're going to hold refs accountable, make sure they get it right, then unfortunately it's going to have to happen whether it's quarter 1, 2, 3, or 4. I think. So at the end of the day, I'm not mad about it because I mean I think Jaguars fans would attest to this. Some would feel that in Cincinnati, if they would have reviewed that pass interference, that game probably would have went a little different towards the end of the game and everything. So I'm not mad at it, but they just got to take into account of how much it messes up the on-field product.
Did you like? I guess we really didn't talk about this very much, but we saw it a couple of times in Jags games. I think we saw it in the postseason game, the playoff game for the Jags. Did you like the measurement, kind of like that old tennis technology where they did and the chip in the ball and how that worked out? Like when you were watching games, you watch a lot more games than me on say a Sunday or something. But
Mhm.
did you think that worked?
Yeah, I'm not mad about it, right? But I think there's something to be said for like the chain gang, like the suspense of it, if you will, of like, oh, let's see where it lines up. But once again, you talk about trying to expedite the game a little bit, making sure the calls are right. I really didn't mind the, virtual line judge or whatever you want to call it.
Do you think officiating, like, do you see where he's coming from when he says officiating is really good? He thought it was excellent because it sounds like you're not, in a way, it sounds like you're tone deaf. But I don't know if he's wrong. I think we get emotional on Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays, and there was a lot of emotion from fans' emotion to their team winning, and they got their goggles on, and we do this all the time, whether we're watching our kids play ball or something else. Like you see it how you want to see it, and then you go back and look, and you're like, oh, damn, that was right, and then you got to admit that, or and also there's gambling money and there's fantasy money and there's all this emotion tied to it. So I think when you step back from it, can you appreciate how good these guys are? Because I find myself saying that sometimes, Austin. I'm like, damn, this game is going so fast. That was an
Yeah.
amazing call by this official. Like I actually say that more often. I'm like, damn, how did he get that call? He got the catch. That was really hard to tell in fast motion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what the analytics say about like how well the refs did this year. It did seem like there's a couple games where the refs may have cost a team a game, and this isn't just wearing teal glasses. I think it happened all around the NFL. But at the same time, I think the refs can thank coaches and their decisions to go for it on fourth down because I think that kind of proved to be a distraction a little bit of more fans, having the public outcry of coaches' decisions than actually the refs' decisions.
Mm, that's a good call, actually. Yeah, that's really and we didn't have the blockbuster missed call. Like, listen, the Jags lost a game on a pretty bad call, but the Jags also lost a game because Brian Thomas didn't catch the football on a couple of occasions, right? Like, there's always different ways to look at it. And to the credit of the players, they usually don't just rely on that bad call at the end of the game. They're programmed to say, hey, we could have done this, this, this. We can't leave it in the ref's hands. But it didn't feel like, did we have a marquee, like, bad call that, like, just was
Well,
talked about for 4 or 5 days?
if you talk to Bills Mafia, they'll tell you that that Denver playoff game was a bad call.
Yeah, that's true. They will. I disagree with them, but, like, that's true. Like, I don't
Mm.
I don't know if that gets to me, that doesn't fall under the umbrella of blatantly bad call. I think that is ambiguous and in a way where you can go on either side of that, just depends which way you want to see that, which I think actually cements how difficult it is to officiate and make the call. Now, was their procedure right and everything else? I'm not so sure. Because they could have taken a longer review, they could have talk that one through a little bit more, whatever it might be. So I get that. That's a good call. I mean, you're right. Everybody was talking about that one. Um, but I still sit here and say I'm not sure they got it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I hear you, man. But at the same time, we can watch a Cincinnati game and I can say, okay, that wasn't pass interference on Travis Hunter. But then I'm sure Bengals fans or a casual NFL fan can go, okay, well, maybe if he turned his head around, then they wouldn't have called it, right? Like, I mean, well, once again, there's going to be bias with every single call, and everyone's going to call it differently. But I just think when the game is on the line like that, when it is Cincinnati and Jacksonville, when it is Buffalo and Denver, that's when I think you really got to batten down the hatches and make sure, whether it's with replay or whether it's with some sort of, ref coming out and saying why exactly they called it like that. That's when you have to kind of stick up for yourself.
Yeah, Mr. Hugo, did Austin and Brent have a fight? They're never in the same place at the same time anymore. Yeah, it's well, we got a little fight camp for Austin and a little baseball, softball season for me. Heck, Austin will be back in the studio on Thursday. I'll be at TPC Sawgrass on a remote. So, yeah, no, we don't like each other. Let's start that rumor. That would be a good one. And
I like
just trying to make it work. We're just trying to make it work. Other Goodell stuff, I didn't really think this was a big deal. He basically said Bill Belichick, like he was asked about Belichick and really the Spygate and everything. Does he feel responsibility on him not getting in? He's like, I don't have anything to do with it. I mean, the NFL doesn't have anything to do with the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I don't think people understand that fully. And he kind of explained it, but it's Pro Football Hall of Fame. I mean, they talk about CFL and other things too, and it's a different beast. It's not run and operated. I know it would seem like it is by the NFL, but it isn't. And he also easily said, well, these guys they are Hall of Famers. They've contributed a bunch to the game. I really didn't think there was a lot there. Like that was one of the headlines that came out of it. And it would show you how benign this news conference was because I don't really think there's a tie to Roger Goodell on the Bill Belichick not getting in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think that the bigger story of Bill Belichick is the fact I guess Jordan Hudson is going to throw a giant extravaganza during the Hall of Fame weekend, which, okay. Okay, have fun with it. If I'm Bill Belichick, I'm just like, why are we trying to bring more attention to this? Just let it be, and hopefully I get it next year. But now we're throwing giant parties, gala events, whatever you want to call it, the Catalina wine mixer, and going, hey, we're really going to show them. We're going to have our own party and celebrate. Have fun with that. So I think that was the bigger story, honestly, than Roger Goodell talking about Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I was trying to think of something when I saw that. What else? What could even possibly equate to that?
Literally, there's two things that I immediately go to, right? Just off the top of my head. It would be like if you're at a kid's birthday party. So say you're whatever, 5th, 6th grade. You're at a kid's birthday party and you feel a certain type of way because you're not getting a gift. So then your mom has to purposely give you a gift during the party so you don't feel so left out. That's what it feels like. And that's sad.
Yeah.
That's not how it should be. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking it's one of those deals if you got, I don't know, if you're getting married and then all of a sudden it falls through, but you still throw a big party anyway for husband or the wife.
Yeah. I've known people that's happened to, where they're kind of getting married, the marriage gets called off and they still have their bachelorette party or their bachelor party. And God bless them for doing that because God knows the debauchery that's going to take place if you're not even getting married anymore.
I think Liv might have had that experience. A wedding got called off last year when she was going to Vegas, and they went to Vegas anyway.
I mean, I was thinking of her. Didn't want to call her out. Brent Martineau did it himself, so we're right on. But yeah, I was trying to keep names under wraps here.
Hamby, you go to a wedding every week. I mean,
yeah.
Are you throwing a party for? Are you going to some party for something that did not happen? Let's just say,
no.
Belichick, Jordan Hudson throwing a bash. Everybody likes a party. And sorry, Bill, you didn't get in. I wonder what the cake looks like at a party like that. But what else would you throw? I like the references for Austin. Because that probably happens all the time. Little kids sitting in the corners I'll buy you this. Don't worry.
Oh, everybody, dude. I guarantee it's happened where there's been whatever, say it again, a 5, 6, 7, whatever birthday party year old, and the kid gets super jealous, so the parents gotta give a toy in the car before they get to the party just so the kid doesn't feel so left out.
This is how could you have your pudding if you don't eat your meat? You didn't have your meat by actually getting married or actually whatever the case may be. You don't get to celebrate. You go home.
That was that's Pink Floyd lyric right there, Hamby. Good job.
Yeah.
Is that a Pink Floyd lyric?
Well, no, it's not a lyric, but in the background of the wall.
Brent, you know that song.
How can you eat? What does the guy say? How can you?
How could you have your pudding if you don't eat your meat?
That's what it is. Yeah. Nicely done, Hamby.
Brent, you know that song. You don't know me.
I guarantee he doesn't know that song, Hamby. You're
No,
giving
he
way
definitely-
too much credit.
We don't need no education.
Oh, okay.
Brick in the wall. Yeah. Brick in the
All
wall.
in all. Yes.
You were right on that one, Hamby. I do know that song.
Everybody knows that song.
Let's see what else do I have on my Goodell list. 18 games. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of momentum right now on 18 games. And I thought there was. I've never shared this soundbite from Shad Khan because it didn't feel too pertinent, but I think I got him, I think this was 2 times ago in London. I want to say it was. I think it was 2 years ago, and I got him on the 18-game season. And when I had that sound, I kind of like saved the soundbite, Austin. I remember because I was like, well, I'm not sure if we'll get Shad like right away when this ever happens. But this soundbite was kind of like, hey, this felt like there was a lot of momentum to make it happen. And it sounds like from Goodell that's paused a bit. And maybe it's paused. We don't talk about this topic very much, but people do, especially in the playoffs when everybody's getting hurt. And I do think there's some validity to it. It's so hard to survive an NFL season. I don't think you want to crown your champ all the time with so much influence based on attrition and really being lucky, like by injury. I mean, the Denver Broncos probably should be in the Super Bowl if Bo Nix plays. I think you can make the case. If Bo Nix plays, fair enough to say they likely are in the Super Bowl. I'm saying that. And it happens. Like crap happens. But he's not the only one is the point. I mean, there are a lot of teams banged up. Do you think that's the thing that will pause this and stop it, especially an illustration of a season like this, when in the biggest of games, they didn't even have their quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to take a look into that, especially if it's been a long time since I played, but when I played, the whole goal was player safety. I assume that's still what the top priority is. So, yeah, I think you got to take a long, hard look because you saw a lot of star players this year that generate a lot of revenue, that bring a lot of eyes to the game, get hurt with pretty serious injuries. So I think you got to take that into account in terms of trying to add another game. Now, I assume if they go 18, is it 2 buys? Or just one still?
I think the 2 buys, it's definitely 2 buys. And then I think the other part that's really interesting, there was one other element, but I know the one element I saw was the roster size would go up. So I think it would create more opportunity. So I do think players and like the NFLPA would like that, right? I mean, it will probably mean more money because obviously it's another game check. It's not another game check, but it's a different game check. And I think therefore there would be a trickle down for that. And then I do think the roster size being increased could be advantageous. Now, I think the NFL people, the personnel people might say, hey, it's already hard enough to find 53 that can play at the level that we want them to play at. So just adding guys just to add guys might not be the way to go. So I think there are some interesting in the weeds conversations here. It just doesn't sound like it's imminent.
No, for sure. And I agree with you. I think like they got to take a long, hard look at this. They have to analyze in terms of injuries and everything of how many guys went down this year. Even if you add an extra bye, I just feel like, I mean, hell, when I played, the game was long enough with 16 games. I can't imagine adding another 2 to that. So, yeah, you can try to die down training camp a little bit and make it easier on the players, right? Maybe shorten that up, shorten the preseason up. At the end of the day, you're going to have, explosive, powerful, strong athletes on the field trying to go after each other. And when you have that combination, injuries are going to happen. So I think you got to limit it, man, as much as possible, regardless of how much money, you're getting paid and everything like that.
Well, one last thought on this. And Hamby, I want to bring you in real quick. I'll just ask you guys simply this. Are you thirsty for an 18th game? Like, are you like, man, we need more?
I'm all good.
Yeah, I'm all set.
Yeah, I actually think we had a conversation at some point in December where it's like, are people fatigued on football a little bit?
We did.
And I don't know exactly what that means. I think, right, if you asked this past weekend, would you rather have a football game on or not? I think people would say, yeah, I think they would because there's, oh my gosh, there's nothing to watch, or I can only watch so much college basketball, or okay, that NBA or the
and Brent, that was specific to this year, I think, because all the divisions except for the South were locked up. I mean, like all of the playoff teams, at least, whether it was the Jags going to be the division winner or wild card, that was there. It was Bucks and Panthers was there. Other than that, There wasn't a whole lot to be decided. So, and that didn't change from week 17 to 18, really. So it was like you had one game here that was good. It was noteworthy. One game there, seeding, I guess. But it was like, well, most of these division races are already decided. So what are we doing? Can we just get to the playoffs already?
Yeah, and I also think there was a push, Austin, when you were playing and you were playing the 4 preseason games. I think there was a push like that game is meaningless, and so is the first one. Like, so now you got 2 games that are really meaningless, and people are carving around it. I don't really feel like that in the preseason anymore. I don't feel like, oh my gosh, 3 is way too many. Now, is it too many? We could debate it. Is there one that really is a throwaway? Probably, but I don't feel like NFL fans or football fans are like, why are we doing this? There was a stretch when, again, I think when you were playing, where people are like, why are we doing this? This is a waste of time. This is a waste of money. You're stealing from your customers basically because the product isn't very good that you're throwing out there in game 1 or 4 or however you were playing it. So, but I don't really feel like that. So I don't think people are like, wow, the season would have been so much different if they let them play one more game. So and so would have won instead. I think like the sample size is good. People aren't, losing their mind out of 3 preseason games. So I think this is all these reasons, injuries too. I think it's just right now people are cool with the way it is and not really, you don't have to change it if you're the NFL.
Yeah, without a doubt. Like I think sometimes and like greed becomes a big thing, right? Because it seems like you're making more money than ever before. But I feel like at some point you got to ask yourselves, all right, when is enough going to be enough, right? And maybe it stops with the 18th game. Maybe it stops that they try to get a team once again in the UK or something like that. I don't know, man. But like I feel like it can only go so far where you start to do yourself a disservice. Now, I don't think we're at that point yet because at the end of the day, if you add another 18th game, that's more fantasy football, it's more gambling. So, like, people will be on board. Ratings will still be great and everything like that. But once again, over money needs to come the player's concern and the player's safety. That needs to be the top priority. And I feel like sometimes it's not. So hopefully they take a long, hard look at that and then make their educated decision.
And this might not be the time to have that conversation again with some of the injuries that we've had. Although I think overall, I sent Hamby a tweet last week.
They were
It
down.
showed like some of the significant injuries are pretty much down. So they're doing a better job of that. But on top of everything that we're talking about, they're playing a game in Australia. They're playing games in Spain. Like that is not player safety. Like, oh my gosh, this is so good for you, the player, right? So they've got to be so careful to add something else on top of that right now when we're talking about, big time players getting hurt at the wrong time of the season, all this travel, already 17 games, Thursday night games that players don't like, so
Yeah.
like there's just so much that I wouldn't pile onto it. And maybe this is the NFL having some feel, Hamby, and is like, okay, this isn't the time and place right now to really be pushing this one.
Well, I mean, the other part of it that I think the NFL, I don't know how much they care about it or not. I think it would be a good question for Goodell was does he care about stats? Does he care about, hey, the rest of the NFL had 16 games, then you expand it to 17. If it's 18, if a receiver doesn't get 1,000 yards, you're going to say he's a bum. Like 1,000 yards per receiver in an 18-game schedule is cake, relative to what he used to. You got 2 more games. So, like, do they want it to be incomparable? That's one of the main reasons I legitimately think that baseball has never gone down. Is because they gotta keep the comparison factor for the greats of the game and the history of the game. No matter what kind of era you're in, steroid, whatever, at the end of the day, you can still compare. This guy hit this amount of homers in 162 games. Babe Ruth hit this many, and this dude in the 1920s did this many. And obviously, it's a different game, but you always have that. If it's 140, all that goes out the window. There goes your 60 home run record. I mean, there goes your 200 hits in a season. It's just people at the end of the day want to be able to compare my legend to your legend of your era, my GOAT to your GOAT. You don't get to compare LeBron to MJ or Kobe or whoever if not everybody's playing 82 games. If LeBron's playing 60, throw it out the window. It's all eye test. And if that's the case, then it's just eyewash.
Yeah, but I think baseball has been the one sport where it's depended more on history than football or basketball. Because when we always say, okay, who's better, LeBron or Michael Jordan, what do we always say? Well, it was a different era. right? When we talk
Yeah.
about Tom Brady or Joe Montana, what do we say? Well, it was always it's a different era, right? So when we talk about these quarterbacks these days putting up crazy numbers, what do we always say? Well, back then, they were running the football a lot more. There wasn't such a dependency on the quarterback position. I feel like baseball, yeah, the game has changed, players have changed, but for the most part, it has stayed the same. Now, the implementation of the DH and taking the pitcher out of the batting thing like that has made a difference a little bit in terms of records, but I think baseball is steeped in tradition and records as opposed to NBA and the NFL, which is more focused on evolution.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. That's exactly the point. I think football and basketball don't care as much about baseball in the numbers. I mean, the numbers are truly, truly important in baseball. I think more than anything else. It's pretty wild you say that too, because when you're talking about the LeBron to MJ, or you talk about when it was Brady and Montana, what we really do to break that tie is championships. We don't really look. If we looked at the stats, I mean, LeBron's stats are going to be better than anybody's in the history of the game. He owns like every record. It's better than Jordan's, but we always go back to the championships and the 6 of them, and obviously we look at it in style of play. I just always find it funny in that conversation that we go to the championships and the rings, because nobody puts like Bill Russell in that conversation. And he won like 10 in like 11 years, and he was the star player, and nobody. The late Sam Jones would always say this: if you asked him who the best player was, he'd be like, well, he has 10 rings. To me, he's the best player that's ever played. So there was some old school sentiment for that. But it's just always striking that we use that as a demarcation, a separator. Hey, here's how you get to GOAT status. But I always feel like Bill Russell gets lost in that conversation back in the 60s. It's almost like a new era kind of conversation. Hey, speaking of GOATs and speaking of basketball, your guy Giannis, I feel like you've been at peace with the idea of Giannis not being part of the Milwaukee Bucks. It sounds like now it's picking up steam to become reality. You feel like he's as good as gone.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I hope he's as good as gone, because, and this isn't a knock on Giannis. I will forever be a Giannis fan. My son will be a Giannis fan, and his ability to win a championship for Milwaukee means absolutely everything. And this isn't more of a rip on Giannis. This is more of a rip on the management, the general manager of the Milwaukee Bucks, because the whole goal was to provide him pieces to help them win more championships, and they've gone about it in the most foolish way possible. You traded away Drew Holiday, who was your top defensive guy. You traded away Middleton, who knew his role as a shooter and then the second scoring option, and you try to go for the flash and the popularity of like a Dame Lillard, and you sacrificed all your draft capital to get Dame Lillard. And it's no knock on Dame Lillard or anything, but obviously, it didn't work out. He gets hurt. And then in terms of coaches, you had a coach who won 33 games. I think he was like 33-14, and you fire him, and then you bring in Doc Rivers, because I guess Doc Rivers was the bigger name, and he hasn't done anything with his time in Milwaukee. So I just feel like you have no draft capital. You have really no help, no young players to be super pumped about to help Giannis out. Yeah, it's time to let him go and start anew, because I think I think he deserves better, and I think the Milwaukee Bucks deserve better. And keeping him right now with zero draft capital, with zero prospects, they're not going to win. They've already shown that they can't win with what they have right now.
Yeah, I think you're right on the sentiment. You know it way better than me, but I feel like because Giannis came back, he had a chance to go, and he decided to come back to Milwaukee and be a part of it, to see it, and then they kind of failed around him more than anything else. I think the sentiment goes to the player. So even if he is to join whoever, Oklahoma City, it won't feel like Kevin Durant joining the Warriors, or some of the other ones that we've had a problem with, maybe even LeBron James, which I think got rectified when he went back to Cleveland anyway, but it won't feel like that. So I guess the other side of that is, since there is sentiment to Giannis, and he's such a likable player and a likable star, where do you want to see him go? Like, what's the deal do you want to see him in New York in a big market? Because Milwaukee's been, obviously it's a smaller market. I mean, it's certainly not irrelevant. He put it on the map. He made it relevant. But do we want to see a big star like that land in a big market so the world can see him, I guess, magnified?
Yeah, so to answer the question, there's two sides of it. There's the Milwaukee Bucks fan in me, and then there's the fan of the NBA in me. And if we're talking about the NBA fan, then yes, I want to see him go to a large market. I want to see him showcase more in front of the world. And I think New York would be the perfect place to do that. New York, in terms of their history and what some of their great teams were, they were based off of physicality, Starks, Patrick Ewing, and everything. And I think Giannis has that. So I think if you pair him up with Jalen Brunson, I'm sure you probably get Karl Anthony Towns out of there. I think that would be the best fit for an NBA fan. Right now, I don't want Karl Anthony Towns in Milwaukee, right? So if I'm a Bucks fan, I'm gonna look more at either Golden State with Ruche Mar, then would become probably be traded in the deal with a bunch of first round picks, or I'll look at Miami, who would throw the kitchen sink more than likely. The Bucks would get Tyler Hero, and once again, like 4 or 5 probably first round picks with the ability to trade those picks as well. So for the betterment of the NBA, I think it's the Knicks or the Golden State Warriors, right? Because they're still relevant. But if you're a Bucks fan, then I think the Heat or the Warriors.
One thing about this, just a quick thought. What's wild is we're not stunned by it anymore. Like we're not, we see the big player, the big star, especially in the NBA. I mean, golly, they're all over the place. I mean, from LeBron changes teams to Durant. What is he on his like 5th team, and he's obviously a shoe-in Hall of Famer. To see Giannis go, I mean, it's a big story, but it's not like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. Anthony Davis has bounced back and forth. I mean, big names, and now in sports in general. I mean, we've just got guys going to the places, and it's not even that crazy to get a trade with a big time quarterback to happen. So it's wild how numb we've got to that. I think obviously different feelings for you. You're a Bucks fan, but it just still hits me different, and this should be like, holy cow, like that guy, you're going to move that guy, and it just doesn't feel like that anymore. And that's not a Giannis thing. I think that's just the nature of sports.
Yeah, without a doubt. And also, too, I just feel like with Giannis's personality, it almost like eases it up a little bit, right? Like if this was a guy who was outspoken, who's like, get me out of Milwaukee, I need to go then I think you lose a little respect for Giannis, right? But like he's done everything and more that's asked from him. And even when he had a chance to leave the first time, he said he wanted to stay in Milwaukee with his family and try to win more championships. So like it's almost like he's one of like the NBA good guys where you just want to see him have success because he's never given you a reason to dislike him. And especially with the NBA where, you don't get to hide behind a helmet and pads and you're always exposed on the court and how you act and everything. Like I don't think Giannis has a lot of haters. So I think you can go like LeBron, haters, Luka, haters, right? Like even Wemby, I feel like sometimes has a couple haters because he doesn't want to go in the post there. He wants to be on the outside. Like the top players in the NBA are polarizing. I don't think Giannis really fits that mold. So it's kind of a weird circumstance where you have one of the best players in the NBA, and I feel like collectively the entire league just wants to see him go have success and be the best player he can be.
I kind of felt like that way about Mahomes, by the way, for a while, and then people get sick of Mahomes winning. It's not really about Mahomes; it's about the Chiefs, and it's like, all right, give me something else. And I kind of get guilty of that too. But I would wonder if Giannis goes to New York or someone like that, if he becomes polarizing, just because those kind of places make you polarizing. It doesn't matter how nice of a guy you are; just that people hate the Knicks, so therefore they would hate Giannis, and that would kind of maybe even bring his stardom in a strange way to a higher level. I mean, just to finalize that thought back home, like if Brian Thomas Jr. gets traded this offseason, we're like, oh my gosh, but not like, I can't believe that happened. If Josh Hines Allen were to move at some point, you'd be like, whoa, but not like that is unfathomable that happened, right? Like it's just really weird that we've gotten to that point in sports where it's not like shakes you to a core that you would lose a player of that magnitude on your team.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I think obviously Josh Hines would have a lot more impact than Brian Thomas Jr. would, but I also feel it's like unless it's Trevor Lawrence and a player gets like traded or whatever, I think not everybody, but I think the collective of the fan base would go, okay, well, what do we get for him? We trust James Gladstone, right?
Yeah,
now, if it's Trevor Lawrence, then it's like, okay, we're sounding the alarms and everything, and we might have to have a conversation. But besides that, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Before we let you go, and we've got some more hoops we'll get to later in the week and some other things. But somebody just asked who your opponent is for the upcoming fight. I can't. I know you've been
Iwa
saying.
Baranowski. He's a Polish dude.
Okay.
And it's gonna be at 205 pounds as well. The case. I mean,
205 pounds. March 21st in London.
Correct, at the O2 Arena, and they announced the card, and I will be on the main card as of now. So that's pretty crazy as well.
It's from a time standpoint, by the way. Where do you even know?
They
like,
haven't.
is that
Yeah,
a card that will start
no,
early for the States, or will it be at?
I haven't seen that yet. I assume since it's not a pay-per-view and it's just a fight night, that it should start a little earlier in the States, and they'll probably cater more towards the European crowd. But I'm not 100%. As soon as I find out, I'll let you guys know.
All right, and I don't really know much about.
Check your local listings.
Check your local listings. I don't know much about this story, but what's the story with Jarrell Miller?
Oh,
in the
man,
match losing his hair. Like I missed that.
Yeah, my dude was wearing, like a toupee, a rug on his head, in a boxing event,
wow.
and ends up getting punched a couple times, and the thing went flying, and eventually makes its way to the crowd where the crowd was interacting with it. So, Hamby, I'm not sure if you can find that video out there. Maybe like after a be told. It's one thing to win, it's another thing to lose your hair in the process. Like, obviously now he's getting a lot more notoriety and everything, so shout out to Big Baby Miller.
Well, by the way, I mean, he's got endorsements rolling in now. I mean,
yeah,
that's
come on.
Gonna be, but I didn't think
it's the best that could have happened to him.
I didn't think people still wore those, like, and had, like, because of all the I don't know,
let alone fight in them
in them. Yeah, like when I was a kid, when we were growing up, I don't know about you growing up, but when I was growing up, it felt like the toupee, right? The rug was a kind of a jokey thing, right? Like, it's that guy definitely is wearing one, or you can tell. Like, Hamby is. I don't think in your world that's a thing, because I think most people, like, if I was losing my hair, I could just go get whatever they call it, like, right, something for men, or and it works so well now. I think that it like
Rogaine, Bosley, Switzerland.
Right? Yeah.
But I assume
maybe I'll get one.
Yeah, well, you're looking good, man. But I think a lot of athletes are worried about it just because of like them affecting their performance, maybe, right? I don't know.
It seemed like half the guys on ESPN used to have them.
I agree with you. I agree. Like, they were really bad. Like, so they've either gotten really good, or people are just using more like the implants and the growth and whatever else. Like,
yeah.
Do it. Pretty wild. All right, Austen. Go. Hard sparring day today.
Hard sparring day, man. Let's get it.
But I want to see pictures of the other guy tomorrow.
Fingers crossed. You got it, man. Talk to you guys later.
Hamby, I want to go to, like, I asked Austen this before the show, before we came on. I was like, I still feel like there's something that I want to get into a ring with him and spar. But I don't know if that's smart. Like, so he told me, I was like, all right, if you hit me in the face when we're sparring, am I going to get all messed up? Like, my face going to get all messed up? Some would say my face already is all messed up, so I don't really want to do that. But he was like, no, he's like, I can control it. Like, I could control, like, how hard I hit you and stuff like that. He's got pretty good control when he spars. So, So in that sense, like, I would like to feel that. Like, I'd kind of like to feel that action, that rush a little bit without getting destroyed, because obviously I would. Like, I don't really want to take a big rib shot either. Like, that would have hurt. But I don't mind, like, getting punched a little bit. Like, you can wear headgear. I mean, would you be opposed to wearing headgear? Yeah, but I still think, like, people who wear headgear, I think now, you can still get lit up pretty good. I mean, like,
there's no doubt. I mean, your whole face is open.
Yeah. So, like, I want to avoid the broken nose. Let's just say that, right? Avoid the broken nose. But I want the experience of it. Yeah, I want to. Right. There you go. I want to feel alive. Pros versus Joes. I actually thought, can you imagine 4-year-old sparring with me, says Delphonic. Yeah, I mean, it would not be. I would trust Austen. I just think it would be, like, fun. We're gonna do a live show in a ring, sparring for, like, a segment. Like, that would be fun.
That'd be amazing.
Now, I'm not taking my shirt off, though, for this segment, unless I get in a lot better shape here. He'll probably have his shirt off. Maybe I'll put one of those shirts on that looks like I'm all tatted up or something like he is. So
yes.
But
you could wear whatever y'all said Heidi Klum was wearing the other day.
That's right. I could have looked like the uncooked chicken.
Yes.
That's what said. We do have what is it? Guns and Hoses in town, and it's a cool event. I think I talking to Weber the other day or somebody. I said I don't remember who, but can you imagine if we did like a media one?
Oh, I bet people would pay.
Oh, they would pay. They would pay. But I don't. Here's the thing. I've done like the home run derby stuff against media. We'll do some stuff against media. I don't know if I could handle if I lost to somebody in the boxing match in the media. I'm not sure my ego could take it. Now I'm going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, I'm a tough guy. I'll beat everybody, right? Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. Now in the home run derby, I felt pretty good, and I was going to beat all these old dudes trying to swing a bat. And I should. I was younger than them. I played ball. I felt pretty good. Now, was I going to beat Brent Myers in the home run derby? Yeah, maybe not. But the other guys in the media, I should have beaten them. And I think at least the one time I did. So, but I'm not sure I want to get I don't want to lose a boxing match to whoever across the street. I don't know if my ego can handle that.
Gosh, that'd be bad news. Oh, it'd be bruised. It'd be so bruised.
Yeah. So I don't. Here's what I'm saying. I'm not going to create this event because I don't. Or when I'm out of it, then I'll create the event.
There you go.
But I agree with you. I think it would do amazing, though. It would be a hell of a charity event.
Bro, if we could get, fill in the blank, and we could have a girls division as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, get Liv in there. Or, oh man, Marcel would be in, no doubt.
Yeah, but Marcel, I don't know how Marcel would feel about doing it either. Now he sits there and tells us if he wants to run 100 meters, he'll beat everybody in town. I get it. That's the same thing as me playing home run derby, or let's go play a couple of holes of golf or something. But I don't know if Marcel would feel pretty good about going up against, I don't know, Chris Porter in a ring. And
I'll take my guy.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to think so too, but I don't know. And me included, and quite frankly, I don't want to lose to Prosser or Porter or somebody else in a ring. I don't know if I recover from that.
Yeah, you probably don't. You probably have to retire. It's an I quit match.
It's an I quit match. Now that would really be good.
Once you get X amount of years in at least the business, or at least in a local market, you have to fight the longest tenured person, and whoever loses has to be done.
That would have been.
And looks like Brent's done. Atta baby. All right. Stay hot, kid. Love that for him. If you needed any other, the guy's done. The guy's done. The guy says he's not going to be done. He's done. He can't even. If the guy can't even stay on, chat. He can't be. We can't be trusted to send him to the ring. At least not with the Action Sports Jacks logo anywhere near him. That would be brutal. Chat, let us know who your Jacksonville sports media bout would be. WrestleMania prediction main event here. Throw that away. Jacksonville media WrestleMania. Who would your main event be? Who would you pay to see? We got to take a break. When we come back, we will talk about the Jags. Maybe we'll talk about their matchup, their opponents, who they're going to be in a bout in their 17 games next year. Some other football talk as well. Look, you got 10 coaches that were just hired. Of those 10, which of those 10 would you most like to be if you had to pick the next Jaguars head coach? We just want to get a better feel for a lot of the guys. that were hired. Brent is fixing his toupee. He'll be right back, and we'll be right back on the Brent and Austen Show.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway, or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC, we are professional grade.
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jax PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
This has been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jax PAL.
Welcome inside the Armor Guard exterior and gutter helmet showroom. There's a lot going on, like glass exteriors, replacement windows, and down there we have the retractable screens and awnings, plus hurricane protection. Let's talk more about those gutters, and to do that, we bring in Kevin. He's the owner, he's the expert. Why Gutter Helmet?
Well, Gutter Helmet's truly the only maintenance-free product. It lets the trash and debris go on the ground, the water wraps around and goes inside. Unlike filters, they sit on top of the gutters, and the trash and debris build up on top of filters, which requires maintenance. With Gutter Helmet, we're going to keep you off the ladder, the most dangerous thing in your garage. With Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. So get off the ladder and put on the helmet. Gutter Helmet.
Get a free estimate at gutterhelmetofnorthflorida.com. You can also call 904-762-7779 or visit the showroom on St. John's Bluff Road in Jacksonville.
Hi, I'm Greg Mackey from Cycles of Jacksonville. Whether you're looking for a side-by-side, ATV, motorcycle, or scooter, Honda has what you need.
The Honda Talon. Ultimate performance meets family-friendly fun. Prices starting at $363 a month. Or the sporty Honda CBR 650 starting at an affordable $204 a month.
Stop by and choose your adventure from a full line of Honda products. Only at Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard. Family owned and operated since 1983.
Hello, I'm Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Since 2003, our firm has fought exclusively for the rights of men in family law. Divorce, modification of child support, alimony, custody, and more, all for men. A father is vitally important to a child's life, and being a man is not a reason to pay more in child support or alimony. I'm a single father. I get it. If you have a divorce or other family law issue, contact Kenny Lay & Associates at divorcemenonly.com.
CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing is taking their 75-plus years of expertise and expanding to CGC Home Services. Water treatment and plumbing is still a big part of what they do, and now they can do even more for you. Home services like kitchen and bathroom remodeling, showers, sinks, faucets, toilet repair, backflow testing, and the list keeps going. Find all they can do at cgchomeservices.com or give them a call, 904-298-7052. It's a new look and a new name with the same expertise. They've been serving homes like yours since 1946. CGC Home Services, right here in Jacksonville off St. John's Bluff Road, 904-298-7052. and visit cgchomeservices.com. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Welcome back, Brent and Austin Show, as we get rolling here on a Tuesday. And what absolute cinema we have here. What absolute cinema. Tug of War and Ross. Team Ross. And I think that's Jeffrey Simmons. And who else do we have in there? Is that Lindenbaum? Yeah, that's got to be Lindenbaum. I mean, just an unbelievable showing from these dudes over there in California. And look, I'd want to challenge you before we even say it, before we spoil it. If you're in the chat, if you're watching right now, what time is the Pro Bowl tonight? I'll spoil it. You know that it's tonight. Where can you watch it? And what actually is it? As we welcome you back. I was, as somebody who was there for the festivities last year, regrettably so, I would say.
You went to it.
Yes, yeah. I think we talked about it. Just nothing good. Not a single entertaining moment, I don't think. Other
But
than
you didn't enjoy it at all?
Well, here's what I enjoyed, Brent. Okay. I enjoyed Logan Cook punting the football one time out of the 10 or so times that he did it, just because it was the game winner. I enjoyed the quarter performance, end of quarter performance from a bunch of local dogs chasing Frisbees. That's it. What I don't know is tonight, if I were to happen to turn it on, if either of those things are happening. Because there's no information anywhere.
So
we
it's a
know
surprise,
we know flag football will be incorporated at some point. We don't know when. We don't know if there's stuff in between. We don't know if there's skills competitions that are on TV. Nothing.
Yeah, it's interesting. First of all, I do think people are – I'm not excited about these Pro Bowl games. I could care less. But I also think people are jumping on the wave of criticism. I mean, is it that big a deal? Is it really that big a deal? If they want to do it.
It's not about it's not about that. Here's what it's about. The NFL is so big and pushes whatever it wants and nothing fails. It's just the fact that this has become a failure. There's no way to sugarcoat it. The Pro Bowl is a failure. And it's just the fact that something that the NFL at least used to pride itself in, they used to have the Midas. And they do have the Midas with everything but the Pro Bowl. So it should just be, it's just a shock to our systems that something that the NFL could be involved in could be this bad.
Yeah, you know what's funny about so many people think that taken out of Hawaii has really hurt it in terms of the credibility of it. So, which I find pretty interesting, right? I mean, because, I get Hawaii was a vacation spot, but these guys have so much money now. The money's so different. Like when you're talking about that at one time, these guys aren't making that kind of money. So getting a family vacation is kind of a big deal. In some respects, people started to get to the point where they're like, oh my gosh, I got to take all my family. It's costing me a fortune to take them all to Hawaii. So it's somewhere shifted to that. But I feel like I've seen people say the answer to this is make it a big deal again in Hawaii so people want to go. And I'm just not sure that would do the trick. There's so much money in the NFL. If these guys want to go to Hawaii, they can go to Hawaii. And they can do whatever the heck they want. So I don't know if there's
issue there.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And by the way, perfectly appropriate. Covering the Pro Bowl once again here in 2026 on a Tuesday.
Brent,
I'm glad to be doing it. It's an honor to once again be doing it. I also don't know, not a lot of criticism about the move or to go into the California, to go in to be a part of the Super Bowl week.
Well, Brent, nobody knew. Nobody knew. There was we couldn't criticize because we didn't know.
Well, we knew that. But we knew it was leaving Orlando, man.
Well,
I mean, it's been a while since. Yeah, I mean,
that was last year.
Yeah, and they made the announcement that it was going to be a part of Super Bowl week. So,
I'm telling you, most people didn't know that.
Well, because they didn't care to know it. You could find it out though. Like that's not like that was a secret. And all of a sudden
I'm not saying it was a secret.
Boom, here it is. I mean, they just don't want to find out until that's because nobody cares to find out the details of this. It's not an appointment thing. It's like, oh, by the way, it's on. Like
all
Sunday.
Right. Delphonics says
Sunday. If they had it on Sunday, they would have done great viewership. It would have beat the NHL Stadium Series, which was a better game, and it would have done well. It would have beat the NBA. It would have done well, probably, even though we all know it stinks. Like that's an us problem, maybe more than the NFL problem. Yeah, Delphonics says two-hand touch. Yeah, they didn't want to get hurt.
Well, no, he said he'd rather see the current Pro Bowl with a flag football instead of the watered-down tackle. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. They tried
that. Didn't they try that?
And I'm not saying both are bad, but dude, I mean, at least they got to be at least having helmets and shoulder pads on there. It just felt way different when it used to be. Like I mean, it was Manning versus Drew Brees, when I was watching it, and in their blue jerseys, I always remember that one specifically. Blue versus red, and you had mic'd up and all that stuff, which they have now, but it felt different when they at least had helmets and shoulder pads on. I don't know. Maybe it was just a feel thing. I'm not saying it was a better product, but at least it was almost comparable to an actual game.
I think it's an unfixable thing. I think it's unfixable. They are not going to fix it. They can choose to keep doing it. That's fine. But they're not going to fix it. There's not going to be an answer. They've wrestled with it. They've tried it. They've played with it. It's a hard answer to get. I think we can all try to have our own opinions on it. Quite frankly, I don't really need to waste the energy trying to fix an NFL problem like this because it's not that big of a deal. It's just another day in the calendar. And again, some of the ideas are kind of cool, but it all comes back to like Delphonics saying, you don't want to get injured. If your guy gets injured, it takes one injury in this kind of setting for it to all go downhill. And the risk is there. I mean, we're seeing non-contact injuries left and right with Achilles and ACLs. If it happens in this atmosphere, you are mad. You are mad at your team. You are mad at everything else. In fact, I think I saw Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to play in the NBA All-Star game. And I think somebody else from the NFL is, and I can't remember who at the time. But to me, that's like, what a risk. If he gets hurt in that game, then every Detroit Lions fan is mad. Every fantasy football owner is mad. Aren't they doing like they're taking a bunch of guys, I think, overseas this summer to play flag football? Somebody's going to get hurt in some way, shape, or form, and you're going to be like 6 weeks away from training camp. And that's going to become a problem and a big thing. So, like, the bottom line is injuries are already happening. Injuries off season will drive people nuts. The only thing worse than an injury in the offseason, it's something like this, is an injury in practice, like we saw with Travis Hunter. Like, it's a frustrating deal because you wait a minute, it's non-contact, you're not even going full speed, and you get hurt. You can understand injuries on Sundays, but there is not an answer. This is one of those things that is an unfixable deal, and I don't even think it's a problem. It's just an unfixable thing for the NFL, and you don't get a lot of that. Usually there's a fix.
Well, Brent, this actually kind of brings you to the possibility, or at least the hypothetical, of insurance. And that is a huge talking point right now with the World Baseball Classic. And it's not a new thing, but it's a bigger thing now than it has been, especially for teams that aren't able to get it. Notably, Team Puerto Rico is being set back this year. Obviously, the World Baseball Classic is just coming up in a few weeks. Some of their players aren't able to get insurance. And the way that it obviously works in baseball is that the insurance partner, which is National Financial Partners or whatever, they pay, or they have a policy in place to cover a player's guaranteed salary if they were to get hurt in the WBC by paying back the player's team. So it's not for the player, it's for the team.
Insurance for the team.
Right. So insurance has gone way up because of the Edwin Diaz situation last WBC. Obviously, one of the best closers in the game, or the best at the time for the Mets, celebrating when they win. And I think what was it, a torn Achilles? I think he was done the whole year. So in that case, this insurance would be paid to the Mets for the $30 million that the Mets still had to shell out to Diaz, that they would be paying back. The problem is Puerto Rico has multiple players that are too old, that are that 36, 37 age
37.
where
I think there's a cutoff at 37.
Where this financial insurance will not pay it. So Miggy Rojas is not able to play. And Lindor may not be able to play because of his contract. They don't want to take on that kind of responsibility. Carlos Correa will be able to. Jose Barrios will be able to. But there's a couple of guys even that this insurance doesn't want to pay it. So they are the team. They are the group. It's not the team. It's not the player. It's this financial group that is actually making the decisions on who can play and who cannot.
Yeah, well, it's like owning a house in Florida these days. If you live on the water, good luck trying to find it and what it's going to cost you, right? From an insurance standpoint. But I kind of get it too. I think this is all the money in sports is so big, and you wonder, will it pop or where it doesn't seem like it. I mean, look at what NBC's doing. I mean, they got everything right now, and they just keep funneling money into sports and all the big events coming up, from Super Bowl to Olympics to everything else. But when you have this kind of money, I don't want that person getting hurt either. I mean, that's, people insure diamond rings and other things, houses and stuff, because it's a big liability if you lose it, right? I mean, and I don't see how these players in many respects are different. And I actually think that trickles down. I mean, this is going way back. Even when I played baseball, there was nothing like this. And we're Division II baseball. Nobody cares about Brent if he gets hurt, quite frankly. It doesn't change the dynamic of the Ashland University Eagles. But we weren't allowed to play basketball, because they knew that's where injuries happened. I mean, so I would ask these guys not to do a lot of that too. I don't know if you can not let whatever your contract says. Remember, there was the motorcycle thing, I think, with Ben Roethlisberger. So there are some of these kind of things, clauses, but the money is so astronomical. You have to protect the asset, quite frankly, as much as possible, and take away as much risk as possible. So I kind of get it. Some of these decisions and how much you're paying these guys lose people jobs, change people's lives, good way, bad way, whatever way. So I think it's just kind of part of the ability to make so much money. And that's what we're seeing here. Mr. Hugo said, did the NHL players in the Olympics ever get resolved? I don't know if I know exactly. Maybe I got to look into that a little bit more. I thought it was more about the arena and everything else going on, being ready for them to play. But I'll have to check into that a little bit more. And it brings up an interesting point. You mentioned the World Baseball Classic. And the Olympics, I think opening ceremonies are Friday.
There's curling tomorrow.
Oh, the Olympics actually start. Oh, some of the events start tomorrow?
Yes. So the events, we had a story on Action News Checks this morning, CBS and CBS 47 and Fox 30. Opening ceremonies Friday. Curling starts tomorrow. Yet their curling venue was not done. That was the news kind of angle of this. In Italy with the snow and all that good stuff, they had not been able to fully finish the venue, whether it was for the fans or the athletes. They were kind of scrambling.
Huh. Are you going to watch the World Baseball Classic?
I'm more excited for that than I am the regular season right now.
Yeah, the last time the World Baseball Classic, it was entertaining. It was really fun. And I think it was a great event. I mean, it really took off. I remember it. And I think it will be some good eyeballs on that. What about the Olympics? Will you actually check out? Will you watch? Will you flip them on?
Probably. It depends. I mean, I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it. If I'm home, which doesn't happen often when I'm now that baseball games start actually today for us.
Good luck.
We got our first preseason game today against Inglewood, so looking forward to that. But, I'm not going to go out of my way. I'm going to try to make an effort if I see a clip on social media to try and watch it, just even if it's a 3-minute clip or whatever the case may be. And I don't know how the Olympics is with posting that stuff. I know they're pretty strict otherwise. But
I would assume NBC and Peacock will really push that and utilize that. But I think that's the way we're going to consume it, right? Isn't that the way I would? First of all, the timing's all messed up. You get to see this is the way kids in your generation, whatever, consume it anyway right now. It's like you can watch an NBA game and check out the highlights 3 minutes in the morning. You don't have to actually go watch the NBA game anymore in real time. So some of this consumption has already been taking place. I actually do think it fits the Olympics very well because there's so much downtime. There's so much like whatever going on that if you can get the bullet points and you just don't have time to sit there and watch it all. Right. Even if you love the Olympics, you couldn't watch it all. There's so many hours of coverage. So this, today's day and age of social media, the clips, the 1 minute, the highlight, the this, the that, like everything that we live really fits, in my opinion, the Olympics and maybe helps bring people attracted to it. Because, we talk about the 1980 Olympic team and the documentary yesterday. I say this every time we do the Olympics. The Olympics has lost its luster over the years. There's just no doubt. It has. I don't know exactly why. Doesn't mean we're not locked in when there's a good story. I think we still like it, but we don't love it. We're not enthralled by it. We don't stop what we're doing to go watch it like we do a Sunday afternoon football game or a Saturday afternoon football game. But I do think like something will catch. Like there will be a cool story that we're going to be talking about on the show, and we're going to want to watch it that night. And much like anything else that happens in sports, it's like if I told you there was 10 hours of great tennis at the Australian Open and you had a chance to go check out what was he talking about there, a couple of highlights, and you want to go see it. Yeah. And I just think that's the way the Olympics now will be treated. I know we're getting Frank Kelleher in from Daytona International Speedway. Is he already there? Should we take a break, Hamby, and then come back with him? What do you think?
Not yet.
Not yet what?
He should be here soon.
Okay, so you want to take a break? Stay on time here? Sure, and then maybe when we come back, we'll talk a little Daytona 500. Here's what I do love. One of my favorite things about this time of year is we'll get to the Super Bowl, then obviously we go Daytona. We're going to go right into the Players' Championship. Like those are big things that are happening. Well, also in Jacksonville, you've got whatever you want. You got high school's winter season now colliding with spring season in high school and college all over the place. Then you also have the ASUN basketball tournament that's going to be here. We've got the high school basketball state championships in Jacksonville in March. We got NHRA, the Gator Nationals, if you like going to Gainesville for that in March. There's just like something for everybody over the next month here in Jacksonville, from racing to golf to the traditional sports. And love that. I think that's a lot of fun as well. And by the way, we'll talk a little fishing later in the week, but we even got the Northeast Florida Wahoo Shootout. We know fishing ramps up as well in these neck of the woods. Speaking of fishing, it's presented by Nimick Buick GMC and Armor Guard Exteriors. Got her helmet at NorthFlorida.com. Nimick Buick GMC, by the way, turns 85 years old this year, and so they want to celebrate with you. Nobody but Nimick. That's what you hear, and that's 85 years of trust behind it. If you bought a car from Nimick like we have, we've bought 6 vehicles from Nimick over the years. If you've serviced one or participated in one of the causes that they participate in, you are a part of the legacy as well. So stop by and celebrate 85 years with Nimick Buick GMC. Check them out at NimickBuickGMC.com. When we come back, we'll talk a little racing, the Daytona 500 right around the corner, the trophy in studio, and the president of Daytona International Speedway here as well on the Brent and Austen Show on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to easily access Action News Jax Now using your Roku device. First, launch Roku. Next, use the menu list to scroll down to the search feature. Then, use the remote to enter Action News Jax into the search bar, and then click Action News Jax thumbnail. Once you see this screen, go ahead and select Add App. Wait a few seconds for it to install. Once it finishes installing, press the star button on your remote and click on Move App or Move App to the top. Finally, select the app back on your home screen to open it. Now you can watch all the great content on Action News Jax Now. Live daily breaking news.
We have breaking news happening right now in Clay County.
First alert weather and traffic.
Looks like we have a tornado warning. Let's take a look at that.
Action Sports Jax 24/7.
We've got the Brent and Austen Show daily, live sporting events, and long-form interviews you can't see anywhere else.
And shows like Law and Crime and much more. And that's how you access Action News Jax Now using your Roku device.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jax 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Hey guys, we got a new player today. I hear he's pretty good.
Heard this guy played in the NFL.
I think he's an MMA fighter. I've actually been on his show, the Brent and Austen show.
Football and fighting, that's the easy part. Let's see if I still have it on the ice. What the heck, man? Who is this guy? He's saving everything.
Leave the hockey to the pros, man. It's hockey season. Come on out and see the Icemen play. Get your tickets at jacksonvilleicemen.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, we welcome you back to the Brent and Austen Show, Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. And I guess we give a little apology to Frank Kelleher. He's alone in studio. Well, not alone. He's got the beautiful trophy as well for the Daytona 500. And I guess there's some irony here that I'm like in my car on the road doing the show today, talking Daytona 500. Now, I'm not driving, just everybody know that. So we are parked and ready to go. And
what's going on, man?
In the middle of Hey, how are you? Austin's in fight camp down in Orlando. We're all over the place right now, Frank, but so are you and gearing up for the Daytona 500. Thanks for stopping in the studio.
Yeah, no doubt. Our road to Daytona is in full force. I feel like I've been on the road since October of last year with the Harley J. Earl Trophy. Just going out to big races, whether it's 2 wheels, 4 wheels, talking to race fans. And we are days away from the 68th running of the Daytona 500. So life is good, man.
Yeah, it's coming up. Give us a sense. So you said since October. Give me some of the cool places that you get to go to, and what do you have like stories or experiences with the trophy? Because everybody wants a picture with it. I get that, but almost wants to touch it, be around it, the significance of it. But are there some cool stories when you've gone on the road of,
Yeah, man. Like
taking it there?
the diversity of all of the different racing that we have at Daytona. So back in October, I was out in Las Vegas for the SMX championship race, so the dirt bike race out there, promoting not only the Daytona 500, but also Daytona Supercross. We then went to Road Atlanta for the Petite Le Mans, the IMSA championship. So talking Rolex 24 and, of course, talking Daytona 500. We were over in Tampa at the Lightning game. Todd Gilliland, NASCAR driver, was with me in the Harley J. Earl Trophy. We then went to the Mecum Auto Auction. I was there with Ross Chastain. And Ryan Parise and we went to Monster Jam in Orlando as well. So, I mean, it's going to work, but like I'm also going to some really fun, cool sporting events and talking to sports fans and motorsports fans alike. So we've been having a lot of fun, and again, the clock is ticking down before we're going to be back to racing in Daytona on Wednesday night. With qualifying for the Daytona 500, Daytona next week, February 11th, qualifying for the Daytona 500, and then it's just madness after that. Every day there's big events going on.
Oh, you guys have some momentum as we get a look at the trophy. By the way, the Rolex just had I think record attendance, right?
Yeah.
So you guys are coming off a great couple weeks. Do you feel that momentum? I mean, where are you guys at internally? Like sometimes you sense that,
Yeah.
and do you guys sense that right now at Daytona?
Yeah, we had amazing weather. I know right now Florida is freezing, but the Rolex 24 was awesome. I mean, when the green flag dropped, as well as when the checkered flag waved 24 hours later, like weather was in the 80s, the sun was shining, blue skies. It was our highest attended Rolex 24 in the 64 years of running the race. We had 60 cars competing, over 200 different drivers, 4 classes. And again, that race just doesn't disappoint. I mean, it goes on for 24 hours. There's 4 classes, but the podium, the top 3 in each class, like it comes down to like seconds separating, sometimes tenths of a second separating first and second place. So to answer your question, we felt the momentum getting into that event, that this racing season across the country is just going to be big. So record crowd for the Rolex 24, record viewership as well for that event. Last year, kind of jumping train tracks into NASCAR, last year we celebrated our 10th consecutive sellout, and we are on the horizon to announcing our 11th consecutive sellout. So there are still some tickets available, there's some hospitality available, but I would not wait, because next week's 68th running of the Daytona 500 for sure is going to be a sold-out event.
I did want to ask you one thing about the weather, because obviously the Clash has moved. In fact, it'll be on Fox 30 tomorrow. It's been moved to Wednesday because of snow, which is, just, hey, part of it right now in the country where we just got out of this cold snap. We had flurries in the Jacksonville area over the weekend. Was there any impact, or is there any impact for what you guys are doing down at Daytona because of the cold temperatures, other than cover up the palm trees or whatever?
I was supposed to have Daytona 500 champ Ricky Stenhouse with me today here live in the studio, but he's actually helping us shovel snow off of the racetrack up in North Carolina. I mean, outside of that, the Speedway, not a whole lot different than, your viewers and listeners in this area of, help take care of the landscaping and make sure you got water running to make sure, pipes don't bust. But there was no heavy lift. The property looks amazing. I am so fortunate to have the best of the best when it comes to sports marketing executives and the operations team. The World Center of Racing, we are ready to go racing next week, regardless of the temperature.
Well, just piggyback on the horizon, what you just said about another sellout on the horizon here. NASCAR has its root fans, its core fans, like diehard fans forever, for decades and decades and decades. I was curious, are you guys seeing new fans as well come into the sport? Do you sense that? Is that a palpable thing? Is that a thing that you notice when you go to a track, from younger generations to diversity? Where are you in NASCAR in particular? But when we go next week and see it in Daytona, do you think the fan is still what's been coming to the track for decades and decades, just passed down to generations? Or are we seeing a new fan attracted by social media and other different things?
Yeah, we definitely have those generational families where there will be people in the stands that'll have fond memories of their grandfather or their parents bringing them to Daytona or to their first NASCAR race. And now they are there as parents bringing their kids, and their kids are bringing their friends. And I think that's one of the many special things that makes NASCAR so great, is just that family and community element. But Brent, you nailed it as well. When you look at our drivers and their diversity of thought and of interest and hobbies and stories of how they got to be competing in NASCAR, it really has just casted such a big net to bring new fans into the sport, that they might have a unique and fun story of, like, I was an iRacer and into playing video games, and now William Byron, back-to-back Daytona 500 champion, he started, his story of iRacing. So, as someone who's worked in the sport now for 23 years, just walking around the grandstands and looking around, it definitely is a young, vibrant, friendly fan base that we have inside of NASCAR at all of the tracks that we race at.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that with the drivers as well, to your point, and William Byron has a chance for a three-peat. So we got some history in the making. There's always history in the making at Daytona. Do you view this race this year in the landscape of NASCAR as, hey, another Daytona 500, which always stands by itself in terms of just expect the unexpected? There's no way to predict what's going to happen.
I think a fun storyline that, as a race fan, I'm excited to see play out is how the chase has been reintroduced to NASCAR. So we're not talking playoffs. We are back to the chase. So, the last handful of years, it was the win and you're in mentality. You win a race, you're guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. So, the purse for the Daytona 500 is over $33 million. So from first place, so it's a big payday. So you've got the purse element, you've got the fact that it's the Harley J. Earl, the Daytona 500. Every driver wants to win that. But I would have to imagine that you're going to be maybe just a little bit more cautious of, if you're running mid-pack, are you going to pull out of the draft and try to take it to the top shelf, and pass for the lead and potentially wreck? And if you wreck, now you're going to leave Daytona in a massive points deficit. So now, points mean more than they did the last few years. So, it's just going to be interesting to see, if I was racing, right, it's the Daytona 500. You're going to go for it, right? But, some of the drivers might be a little bit more pragmatic of, okay, am I going to risk it all and end up in the wall and leave here with 0 points versus maybe finish in 6th place? So I think all of that is going to be a really interesting storyline to see how these drivers treat each other and how they attack the track.
That is a massive change, by the way, because you're right. I mean, first of all, you want to win the Daytona 500, and if you win the Daytona 500 at all costs, who cares what you do the next couple of weeks? You're in. So, there was so much motivation to make it a crazy finish potentially, but now there's a little more thought strategy, the long game, at least in mind. I was talking to Stuart Weber. He's like our expert here on the NASCAR stuff, and we were talking a little bit yesterday prior to you coming in today, and I don't know if they've done this in the past. Maybe you can tell me, but it feels like one thing in golf, right? You get the major championships. Well, Daytona 500 is a major championship in NASCAR. It's a major. Do
That's
you
right.
feel like that they could potentially give even more points to the Daytona 500 and have some
You know,
weight to some of the bigger events, or does that take away maybe from the rest of the schedule? They don't want to do that.
That's a great question. I don't know, right? It's 55 points to win a race, and now this year, which is up from 45 last year, but that's every Cup race. And then you get 10 points to win a stage. So if you could potentially, as a driver, leave Daytona not only with that Harley J. Earl Trophy and the status of being a Daytona 500 champion, but now 75 points in the points lead. But that has never come across my desk of changing the points just for the Daytona 500, but I think it's a great thought. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it just kind of entered my mind in that sense. But I also get you want everything to matter. I understand there's a lot at stake and a lot to play into, and it's already a big deal in the Daytona 500. I don't know if it needs any more weight. You think there's going to be a sellout? Obviously, it looks like we're tracking that way. It looks like we're going to have a good crowd. I'm hoping it warms up a tad for everybody that's going next week to be a part of all the festivities. What do you tell folks that maybe listening to our show that always said, man, I got to go down to Daytona. I'm not a huge racing fan, but I want to go down. I want to experience it. And I think for years we've kind of said, hey, go check out the duels. Is that still where you on if you're not going to the 500? Is there something else like a hidden secret for you that you share with people? Say, hey, got to go check this out too. You check it all out. Obviously, camp out if you can. But where do you send people to?
So DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com, that's where all of our events are listed. To your question of a listener who's kind of on the fence, on the fringe, never been, some things to throw out there. On Tuesday, February 10th, we do a hauler parade. So all of the Cup cars, when they load up in their giant 53-foot trailers, they parade down to Daytona, and they set up across the street from the racetrack at One Daytona. It's a free event. Some drivers will be out there doing Q&A. There'll be some autograph sessions. It's a really fun, community, almost like ribbon cutting. Like, all right, NASCAR's back, racing is back. Let's go check it out. So that's a free event. On Wednesday night is Daytona 500 qualifying presented by Busch Light. That is an event where kids 12 and under, they get in for free. Wednesday, if you are camping anywhere on property at the World Center of Racing, we throw a camper fest where I'm out there handing out free hot dogs, free beer. We'll have a band on the stage. We'll have a bunch of Cup stars stopping by, signing autographs. So that's just a great way to kick off the party for our campers. And then Thursday night is the America 250 duel at Daytona, to where that sets the rest of the field for the Daytona 500. So there are nine drivers showing up, trying to qualify in, and there's only 4 open spots. So you're going to see Jimmy Johnson race. You're going to see Justin Allgaier, who's a multi-time NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series champion. So there's pressure on that race. Again, kids 12 and under get in for free on Thursday night. There is free parking in the area. And then Friday night is the Craftsman Truck Series, which is really shaping up to be like an all-star race. You're going to have Tony Stewart, Travis Pastrana, Ricky Stenhouse, who's a Daytona 500 champ, John Hunter Nemechek, Carson Hocevar. So Friday Night Lights at Daytona. Tickets, I think, start right around $49. Again, kids 12 and under get in for free. So to me, if I'm in the Jacksonville area and you're not ready to maybe commit to the Daytona 500, I'd say drive down Friday after work, get the kids out of school, and Friday Night Lights at Daytona is a blast. And then on Saturday's a doubleheader to where it's the ARCA Menard Series. The green flag drops right around 12 o'clock. And then that one ticket also gets you into the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series event, which green flag is right around 5 o'clock as well. So that's all at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com. So hopefully something that I said there to someone on the fence is like, you know what, maybe we're going to drive down, find some of that free parking, bring the kids 12 and under in for free and go check it out.
Well, I think you did. You mentioned some stuff. Like if I get kids in the hauler parade, that's fun to time. Like they would get that'd be a blast for kids to see that. But also, I'll tell you this: I've been a lot of Daytonas now in Daytona Speed Weeks, and the Friday night truck race delivers so many times. It is so underrated, I think, of that weekend. and often has some of the best finishes. So that's a fun one to go to if you want to check that out. Frank Kelleher, president, Daytona International Speedway. I want to leave you with this. We have seen so much creativity now at all these different venues. We thought for a time, I think when we had you on over the last couple of years, we flirted with the idea maybe the Jags would play down there in Daytona while they were renovating this stadium. That obviously isn't happening. You just got done with the Christmas time where you guys do lights at the track, which is really cool. You have Welcome to Rockville. You've got all these different racing events, obviously. We've seen Bristol and football games. Is there anything, I mean, how outside the box are you guys thinking right now? Is there anything on the horizon? Is there any kind of this new event that you could get in there? I mean, Savannah Bananas ever going to play at Daytona International Speedway? You want some ideas? I got some ideas.
We will take any and all the ideas that you have. There's no bad idea, and genuinely, we are open to chasing anything and everything that would make sense. Really love the thought of being the home for the Jags, for a season, and confident that, again, we could have turned Sunday football into a weekend-long tailgate experience, and who knows, college football games on Saturday and high school games on Friday. But, we will continue to chase any big idea like that, seeing the Savannah Bananas and what they're doing. What makes us a little unique and different than like a Bristol. When you think of a Bristol, I mean, it is essentially the Coliseum, very similar to a college football environment, to where we're 101,500 grandstand seats, going east to west. So to create an intimate football scene or a baseball scene, like, it can be done. It just, will require a lot of temporary seating to bring in and to make it happen. So those are not deal breakers for us. I mean, if you remember, we had a soccer fest, a few summers ago, where we had soccer, we had music, and we had a food festival. You mentioned Rockville. Danny Wimmer's actually in town right now, already working on our Rockville plans. He's always looking to make it bigger and better. So, there's never a dull day of, what could we do? It's just, once you get into weeds to try to figure out what's viable, that's sometimes where we hit some obstacles.
Yeah, no doubt. I get it. I love the concept of it. I love the idea of it. You mentioned Monster Jam earlier, that you had been with the trophy. I was like, oh, that would be kind of cool. But
Yes.
the way the layout certainly is a different challenge from the word you use brilliantly as intimate. I mean, you still want to make that feel like you're in a stadium and everything else. But hey, I know you guys are always thinking. You guys are very creative and doing a great job down there at Daytona. It looks fantastic. My daughter plays at Daytona State, so we're down there a bunch, and,
Awesome.
and we love going down there and going by and all the things that you guys have done. I can't wait to see everybody next week during Speed Weeks for the 2026 Daytona 500. Frank Keller, thanks for stopping by and bringing the trophy.
Hey, man, thanks for having me on. We'll see you soon at the track.
All right, that is Frank Kelleher. And by the way, we will have a 1-hour special, Road to Victory Lane, live on Fox 30 coming up on race day, Daytona 500 day. Of course, you can watch the race on Fox 30 as well. And don't forget, tomorrow the Clash has been moved to Wednesday, and we will have coverage of that one on Fox 30, just your family of networks here with Action Sports Jacks. And that includes this, the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Club 904 with me, O'Brien, coming up at 1 o'clock. Talon Talk at 2 o'clock. We're talking 1 hour of UNF Ospreys. Nick Morrow will stop by and catch up with Jeff Conrad, the softball coach, as well. And there's the rest of the lineup on a Tuesday on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
ActionNewsJax.com.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to easily access Action News Jax Now using your Roku device. First, launch Roku. Next, use the menu list to scroll down to the search feature. Then, use the remote to enter Action News Jax into the search bar, and then click Action News Jax thumbnail. Once you see this screen, go ahead and select Add App. Wait a few seconds for it to install. Once it finishes installing, press the star button on your remote and click on Move App or Move App to the top. Finally, select the app back on your home screen to open it. Now you can watch all the great content on Action News Jax Now. Live daily breaking news.
We have breaking news happening right now in Clay County.
First alert weather and traffic.
Looks like we have a tornado warning. Let's take a look at that.
Action Sports Jax 24/7.
We've got the Brent and Austen Show daily, live sporting events, and long-form interviews you can't see anywhere else.
And shows like Law and Crime and much more. And that's how you access Action News Jax Now using your Roku device.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jax 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Hey guys, we got a new player today. I hear he's pretty good.
Heard this guy played in the NFL.
I think he's an MMA fighter. I've actually been on his show, the Brent and Austen show.
Football and fighting, that's the easy part. Let's see if I still have it on the ice. What the heck, man? Who is this guy? He's saving everything.
Leave the hockey to the pros, man. It's hockey season. Come on out and see the Icemen play. Get your tickets at JacksonvilleIcemen.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
I was just thinking this might be the longest we've gone without talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars on this show, like the history of the show. We hardly talked about them yesterday, maybe a quick mention, I think, at the end. And then today, we're almost 2 hours in and get the Jags break. But let's talk about the Jags a little bit right now. We are obviously going to spend the entire offseason talking about all these different positions. This is Daniel Griffiths' latest article. You can find it on actionsportsjax.com. He's going position by position, by the way. So if you really want to get a look, last week was offense. switches around to the defensive side of things. And defensive tackle, right? This is the prime spot. This is the one spot I would say that the Jags really need. And can they elevate the play? And if they do that, the domino effect could be massive. Now, as it turns out, they got to replace probably Devin Lloyd, we think. Maybe they add a corner. Can they add a safety? Can they add a tight end? Like, there are other spots, but I think this is the spot. And can they find it in the draft? Will they get it in free agency? If you look at what the Jags did, their interior.
And looks like there goes Brent. All right. So as Brent was saying,
that isn't
he's back.
Good enough.
Had a baby.
Yeah, popped in and out there. We're okay. Eric Armstead, he had a really good stretch, and then I think once he got the injury with the hand, that really faded. So the bottom line here to me is they have to figure out the defensive tackle spot.
Yapped out again. Yeah, I'm gonna leave him right there for right now. We'll get back to him, but let's get back to this graphic right quick. All right, so let me just read these off for you. So I mean, because here's the question, guys, real quick. We know that the Jaguars' interior defensive line was a hole. We know that relative to the rest of the defense, you'd probably safely say that the interior defensive line was the weak link. Maybe the one area, obviously, as Brent said, that you want to improve. But how big of a hole really is it? Like, what kind of grade would you give it? Should we give it as a whole for the season? Well, this is where I think some of these numbers really speak for us right here. The Jaguars 23rd in pressure percentage for the interior defensive tackle spot. That's between Devon and Eric and Matt Dickerson, who played big snaps, and Mason Smith, who was in and out of the lineup. 23rd in pressure percentage, not great, of course, not great. 24th in pass rush percentage, win percentage. Also not ideal, right? Eric Armstead, again, this is what Brent was saying, that with that hand, weeks 1 through 12, 3.7 pressures a game. I don't know pressures per game like the back of my hand. I don't think many people do. That's got to be towards the top of the entire NFL. I mean, 3.7, as we welcome Brent back in, 3.7 pressures per game. That's a lot, guys. So I want to make sure we all figure that out, because the low-hanging fruit when you think about the Jags offseason and where you can move forward is replace Eric Armstead. That's the low-hanging fruit. I think that's the easy way out. And I'm not saying they should or shouldn't do that. I mean, if they think they can upgrade there, if they want to draft at 54, then I'm sure they can. I'm sure
they might not have a choice. They might have a choice. I mean, contractually wise, with Armstead.
Well, they'd have to wait till after the June 1st deadline to make it even really hit anything. But, I mean, Brent, you could make the argument, and I'm sure Eric Armstead would, without the hand, Eric Armstead would say, why don't you replace somebody else on the interior defensive line? Because Dickerson's a free agent this year. Austin Johnson, who obviously that's not a piece for the future. That's a guy who played snaps. He's a free agent this year. You're going to have to replace a lot more percentage of the snaps than just Armstead. So why would he not say, you can draft somebody at 54, keep me, though?
Well,
right?
Yeah, you might. I mean, like I said, you might be stuck keeping him. That's not the story. And the story is, can you elevate to the point where you get star play out of that position? This has become a premium position in the NFL. If you look at the Seattle Seahawks, why they are in the Super Bowl, if you look at the New England Patriots, why they are in the Super Bowl, I guarantee you they are getting good defensive interior play. The Jaguars didn't get bad defensive interior play. They got better play. Armstead was playing at a pretty high level, makes a huge play, 5.5 sacks. That pressure rate that you were talking about at one time, I think, was 6th in the National Football League in that position. I think he was actually like top 10 voted in the Pro Bowl at one time when the early voting started to happen. Then the hand injury derails him. But also age is going to derail him. He's not probably the player he used to be. You're going to lose a step. So for him being around, that's not the key. For finding the Dickersons of the world and everything else, that's not a problem. The problem is finding someone dynamic at that position. Keep in mind, Devon Hamilton had a hell of a year. He was terrific. But can you find someone dynamic at that position? They tried to go get Quinnen Williams, made a run at it. I don't know how serious it ever got because I don't think they were ever going to be able to give up what the Dallas Cowboys gave up. But do you go that way and go get a proven player? Because I've looked at all these mock drafts now, and the only thing I look at in this mock draft, at least to start, because I haven't got into crazy draft season yet, is, okay, where are the defensive interior guys? Where's the defensive tackle? Where's the three technique guy? And in most mock drafts now, and this isn't gospel, but most mock drafts that you see right now, there are 2 defensive interior players that are going in the first round. That's it. That tells me this isn't a very strong defensive interior class, or maybe it's just not top heavy and you can find a bunch in the second and third round, which would actually fit and mesh well with what the Jaguars have. I think Banks out of Florida obviously is one of the highly touted ones. But after that, it's pretty slim pickings in terms of getting high-level talent. I think the Jags, if they can find I'm talking a high-level player at that position, a high-level producer at that position, they become, to me, a dangerous, dangerous football team on the defensive side. Because I think the domino effect there on Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen and everybody else behind them is going to be massive.
Yeah.
If you have Eric Armstead playing 35% of the snaps and he's your part of your rotation, you're pretty damn good. But you need a frontline guy that's going to play like a frontline guy. I just don't think Armstead's going to play like he used to play. And that's not a disrespectful thing. He can clip this if he wants. It's just an age thing. I mean, you're not the player you used to be when you start to get to a certain age. The Jags need, to me, if it, in a perfect world, they would draft somebody that turns into a stud who's 23, 24 years old, and you can have him for the next 5 to 8 years, and eventually going to have to pay that guy a lot of money. I don't know if this draft you find that. So they might have to go get somebody else in free agency and probably overpay. But I think they tipped the hand a little bit, at least with those reports, that they were interested in Quinnen Williams. They know they have to find that. And I think it's going to be priority number one, whether it's in free agency or draft, to upgrade that particular position. The domino effect is going to be real when it comes to it. I think Ripley's talking about it right now. I mean, it's not, again, Jags were unbelievable really unbelievable against the run. I mean, unbelievable is a strong word. They really were. They were terrific against the run. Better than I even thought they were in real time, as they were able to chip away at some of the good backs like Jonathan Taylor and still hold those guys in check. It turns out they were fantastic. James Cook, Jonathan Taylor couldn't do anything against the Jaguars rush defense. How do they get a bigger push on the interior? And to me, it's not even about that guy getting sacks. It's about helping Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker be game wreckers. And I think the Jags defense would be so dynamic if they got that and feel more dominant. It didn't feel dominant. It felt opportunistic, and it felt fundamentally good with stopping the run. I wouldn't say their defense felt dominant last year. I think you could get there if they could rekindle what Rip's talking about here. The guys like John Henderson, the guys like the Marcel Dariuses of the world in 17, the guys like Malik Jackson that really could make an impact from that position. Hard to get, really hard to find. But if they could find it, it would be really good. I think we have part of the reason I was getting kicked out. I think Liv was, we can write this down from a technical standpoint, Amby. I think she was trying to get in the same time I was on. And, but for good purposes, because we're going to go see Fang and the Jacksonville Icemen. It's school day at the Jacksonville Icemen, and we're going to give you a little bit of a look out there at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. I have no idea if the Icemen are winning. I think this thing started at 10:30, but it looks like we got some action going on there in most likely the second period. Maybe it's the early third period. Maybe Liv can hear me. Yes, she can. Now she's going to trust my eyes are good. Amby, what's that score say?
Oh, baby. 2-0.
2-0. Good guys.
Bad guys.
Yes.
Bad guys.
Bad
guys.
guys.
Bad guys.
Good job. Good hand signals there, Liv. Very good.
Wow.
All right, Iceman, let's get rolling. So here's what the Iceman did. they usually do this school day. We've been out there. We were at it earlier this year. So they get like, oh, shoot, I don't know, 10, 11, 12,000 kids out there for the game. And it's been so successful. They did 2 of them this year. So they kind of managed it. I think the first one might have had more like 8, 9, 10,000. And then they put another 8, 9, 10,000 in for this one. So, and did you see the Star Wars night Saturday, which was on My TV Jax, had almost 13,000 people at the Jacksonville Iceman game?
Really? Golly,
Yeah,
that's a ton.
They get some great crowds, man. They've done a great job. And I mean, you think about, they're not getting 13,000 every night, but if you think about 13,000 for an Iceman game,
I mean, that's not far off from what you could bring in from an NHL game. Yeah.
And which is really incredible. And again, some of these are promotable nights and big nights that they prepare for, but they do this quite a bit. They got one of the best attendances in the ECHL. It's really strange right now for the Jacksonville Icemen because they've been so good since they arrived in Jacksonville. Always good, always making the playoffs. Right now, they're on the fringe of not making the playoffs. They're just not playing great hockey. They're banged up. That's part of it, but they just ended up on the wrong side of the scoreboard. Like they're down 2-0. They lost 7-0 on Sunday to Savannah. I mean, so this is probably the worst hockey we've seen the Icemen play in their existence here in Jacksonville. That's how good they've been. And the question is, can they get that final spot, get right, and then maybe make a run once you get to, if you get in, you can get in and make something happen. I think that's all they're trying to do right now. But that 4th spot is up for grabs in their division, and there's like 4 of the teams vying for it. They're all right in the mix. There's separation between the top 3 teams and the rest of them. So the Icemen have to get going here. They got to get healthy. They got time too. I mean, still a couple months to go. So it'll be interesting to see. But it's kind of weird talking about the Jacksonville Icemen when they've been so good. Like you're usually do get this shot on the show, and we're talking about an Iceman game as we take a live look, which is also very cool here on the Brent and Austin Show on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. And you're like, well, these guys are in first place or battling the Everblades, or that's not the case this year. It's a little off and has been, but still plenty of time for them to find it.
Well, Brent, my first Iceman game was maybe 3 weeks ago or something like that. Completely underrated celebration that I've been meaning to bring up. The most wholesome, but just hurts towards the opposing goalie. They chant the dude's name after they score. They chant the dude's name 3 times. When I win, it was against the Solar Bears. I think it was Minigan or Minarin was the opposing goalie. Chant his name 3 times. He can hear it clear as day. You suck. It's all your fault. Dude, I was all in on that. Like that stings. Like the "you suck" is like, all right, like you hear that all the time. It's all your fault. Man, dude, that goalie is like, I don't want to come back here. He can't want to. And as soon as I heard that, first of all, I asked everybody around me to teach me it. So by goal 2, I was in on the whole thing. I was well timed. It was a well-oiled machine at that point. I'm all in. You're gonna tell a dude.
Mike?
What's that now?
Do you see Whiteboard Mike? Submarine Mike?
I'm unfamiliar with his game. Is that the dude who signals it all?
Yeah, Submarine Mike probably gets those going. He listens to the show sometimes. He definitely was on. I don't know if it fits his time of day as it did when we were on ESPN in the afternoon. And Austin used to do a whiteboard thing too. And Submarine Mike, big Iceman fan, season ticket holder, he does the whiteboard stuff to get the crowd going there at the Iceman game. So I was wondering if you had seen him usually do a run in. I've got this standing invitation that I got to take in advantage of and accept to go like sit in the sin bin with in the penalty box for like a period or a game. And I want to do that, probably do a story on it. I gotta find time. It's a good time of year to be able to do that. And I also will always say this, but I want to drive the Zamboni. Now I'm not sure if that's a smart move, but I do want to drive the Zamboni.
Okay.
And that would be fun.
All right.
Like crashing into the boards, and it's probably pretty expensive, but the Zamboni would be cool. Anyway, a lot of kids out there at the Jacksonville Iceman game, and they are down 2-0. It looks like probably going into the third as we're getting set for the final period. And we'll have some highlights of that one tonight on CBS 47, Fox 30. Liv will give us another look at that later on because she's hanging out there. A little bit of everything these couple of days here on the show, from all the different things going on to talking Daytona 500 in the last hour, taking you out to the Iceman game. And I love this time of year. We can do that a little bit more, especially with the video. We can do the show from the car. That's one thing. But we also can take you out to some. We've done live batting practices. We've done the Iceman games. And we want to do a little bit more of that stuff, have some fun with the show. And whatever's going on during the day from 10 to 1, we'll try to be there for it and bring it to you. Brent Martineau, Jason Hamby, Austen Lane is in fight camp. Again, maybe we just go drive down to Orlando and just participate in fight camp. Although I always hesitate to do that with Austin because I just don't want him distracted from keeping the main thing for an important fight coming up in London in March. Time for our Republic Services recycled headlines of the day. Recycling Simplified.
You better start with the first headline.
The first headline is the Pro Bowl game festivities.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Pro Bowl game,
yeah, man.
Festivities are tonight, and Devin Lloyd and Ross Matisic are there. Interestingly enough, there were, I saw this other thing that I think C.J. Stroud got asked to go to the Pro Bowl games.
Oh,
turned it down.
He shouldn't have done that.
Who was it? Somebody else.
Put your talents on display, CJ.
I don't know if some of this was just people kidding around or if like Justin Fields was invited, but they ended up getting to Flacco and Shedeur Sanders. So I'm thinking like everybody was invited.
Yeah, if you threw a pass in the National Football League in the AFC this year, you were invited.
It's just amazing they tried that hard. But I guess what I'm saying is I wonder how many – we know the quarterbacks seem to have turned it down, from Trevor Lawrence, who was an alternate, didn't go, to others. I wonder how many other players kind of turned this down, or the opportunity to go replace someone. Or, I mean, it's mostly a skills guy deal. But who knows? Maybe, for instance, who else would the Jags have had? Like, I think the kickers are fine, so I don't think Cam Little would have turned it down anyway. I think he would have gone, like, if given the opportunity. Was Parker Washington on a list? I doubt it.
Well, here's my question. Let's take somebody who's been before it. BTJ obviously was there last year, and obviously he had far from a Pro Bowl type year. But say he had, would he have gone again 2 straight years?
I think he would have. I think the young guys will go. I say that. I mean, it's not like Trevor's old. But I just feel like the quarterbacks might be a little bit different. And that's why we're getting that's why I get a lot of quarterbacks turning it down. And there's so much, I don't know, I go back and forth on this. Everybody be like, well, they only have so much. Everybody wants a piece of their time. And when you go out to an event like that, then you got to do even more stuff. And I don't know if they like that idea. I think going to be around the guys and playing in part of the day or 2 days is cool. But all the other stuff that comes with it, I don't think they like, especially at this point. They want to just chill out, go on vacation, everything else. And I wonder if that's really the reason they turn it down more than anything else. It's just kind of a demand on time, and a lot of it's
not
just
convenient.
That they don't really want to do.
Yeah.
It's not like they don't have the time to do it. They just can make that choice. When you're making $55 million, you can you can make a choice at how valuable your time is. And I wonder if that's kind of like a bigger part of it than anything else. Because here's the deal. In the offseason, the NFL guys get a good amount of time off for an offseason.
No doubt.
I mean, at least between – I understand the calendar's long, but like between the end of the year, where the Jags played on January 11th, and the next time they'll play a football game, which will be in August. That's a long time in between seasons. Now, there's training camp. There's obviously April, May, and June have stuff going on. But my point is, I mean, you got half of June, half of July, you got half of January, you got all of February, you got all of March, you got a little, I think like half of April. That's a pretty long off season. So you can spend plenty of time with the family.
Yeah. Yeah, you got all the time in the world.
So yeah, it's I don't know why these guys turned it down. I just think that's part of it. I just think it's the demand on time and everything that goes into it. All right, other headlines. Super Bowl week is underway with the Patriots and Seattle not only arriving, but opening night. And this is already living up to exactly what I said. I don't think this is a headline-filled week in terms of the game. It's okay. It's a big game. It might be a good game. It's just not a headline-filled week for people that talk about it. I don't think there's going to be exhaustive conversation about the Super Bowl, at least in places like Jacksonville. Maybe for anybody who's a national show, that's all they're doing this week. I understand. And Monday night lived up to that. Like, are you seeing any headline come out on Monday night? Like, this guy said this, or wow, or, nothing. I mean, I think
other than Diggs saying he understands that most people don't like him.
Oh, he said that? Yeah. So Clint Kubiak is probably the biggest story coming out of there because he got the job with the Raiders. And so people are asking him, how did that go down? Of course, I thought he said something pretty interesting because I'm fascinated by the interview process in the NFL. And he said it wasn't a distraction to interview for the jobs because I learned this from my dad, is what he said. It's like you do all that homework in the offseason. Like any of that, like you plan to interview, hopefully, you put all that work in for that planned interview in the offseason. And that's when you get that in a row. So then the ducks in a row. So when you're in season, you're not taking anything away from any game week preparation. Your mind doesn't wander to that. You've already got that all set and ready to go for anybody that calls whenever the time is. And I don't think I had heard that explained that way in the past, which is kind of surprising. Maybe I just missed it. But I figured all these coaching changes that we've had, maybe that would come up over the years.
Yeah.
And I had not heard that, but it makes a lot of sense because, think about this on a very small scale for us. If you and I are doing a show today and you're about to go interview for a big job you're chasing at 3:00 today, but you just got word about it 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of how this stuff works. Maybe last week or whatever. But how locked into the show are you today?
Right.
How nervous are you about this life-changing potential interview? And how ready are you for it? So
I think that's the biggest part of it, Brent, is because
fascinating.
They got to know the personnel of the team. And of course they know who the quarterback is and the top 10 players on the team, but the way these guys interview, it's like when Grant Udinski interviewed with the Browns, like I'm guessing he knows the roster, at least the offense from front to bottom or top to bottom.
Oh, you crash course it. I think you crash course that.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. But the relationships with the guys that, like Udinski probably already knew what the situation was with Deshaun Watson. I don't even necessarily know how much money's going this way, that way, the other way. I think these guys do. They know the personnel and the situations of other teams way more than we might think. Because otherwise, how could you possibly be any kind of prepared for some of these interviews? Like Gladstone, maybe take the GM. I know it's different, but like he comes over to the Jags. We've talked all about it. He knew the roster upwards and backwards. When?
Yeah.
When did you learn that?
Well, I think you had a couple weeks if you're Gladstone, right? Because you knew the process, and it unfolds over a couple weeks. You knew which teams were available to get jobs, potential. There were only 3 GM jobs open. So if you're interested, if you think you're going to be a candidate, your agent tells you you're a candidate, you're like, okay, I got to check out the Jets, the Jags, and whoever else, whatever it is. I also think there's a lot of cross-referencing in the NFL. So when you're looking at game tape, if you're Clint Kubiak, he's watching probably the Raiders 5 times this year just because. Now, he's mostly watching their defense. So he probably has a good feel for their defense more than their offense. And then he also knows offensive guys because he's trying to copycat or look at what plays these guys are running, or they might be already doing work on them for free agency or draft. So I think there's some sub-knowledge of this. This isn't like me walking into some financial building and going for an interview this afternoon, right? I mean, I think we could all walk into almost any of the 32 teams and have an idea of what exists in their building. I mean, because the NFL is so big and we all follow it.
Of course.
So I think that part is a little easy. But I do think just the preparation for it always fascinated me that you were supposed, this is the biggest interview of your life. This is a life-changing interview, and you're getting ready for a Super Bowl, and you have 5 hours to be able to put aside and be on your A game.
Right.
Like, that is fascinating to me.
And
This
when do you
isn't,
sleep?
it's different than like the combine, right? The combine, these kids, they're young players, they have to go there and they're always being interviewed, and it's kind of like a long day, Austin said it was, and same questions. But they've also been like out of school and out of football for the last month. Like, they've been able to mentally prepare for it. They're well rested. They're not distracted. This is the only thing. They have tunnel vision on this one element. That's not the case for Kubiak. I mean, he didn't have the tunnel vision. And
Yeah.
I guess the only thing that he has to do is just not flop the interview, because they probably know they want him with all the research they've already done.
Sure.
And now just don't flop the interview. Where I think like maybe Udinski, to actually be a possibility
He had to
for the
crush it.
Browns, has to crush the interview.
Yeah.
And yeah, they know him, but he's only 30, hasn't called plays. He comes with some of these things where it's like, okay, but now you go up an echelon if you can kill the interview.
Sure.
And it sounds like he did a good job in the interview, I think. So yeah, the whole process, man, someday I'm gonna have to, maybe I'll ask Gladstone or Cohen or whatever. I'm just fascinated with that. Also with like what gets asked, how you handle it, because Cohen did really well in the interview.
Right.
And so much so that he blew those guys away, that they did everything they could to get him back. And that's all based on the interview. That the research, the poking around, maybe the headhunters, whatever it is, that's all the before. How you feel around the guy in those 2-hour Zoom calls or
Yep.
3 or 4 hour sessions, that's what really probably wins you the job. And it did with Cohen. And it can't be a single answer. I don't know. Like, I haven't done an interview for a job in a long time. So it's a hard thing to kind of relate to. And for most of us, we'll never interview to that degree. We're never going to go in an interview for 4 hours answering questions
Yeah.
about plotting out a whole organization in $1 billion industry.
Right.
So I just thought that part coming out of opening night, where he shed some light on the fact that he was already prepared for it. Now, he also had help, right? His dad had been doing it, so we can lean on that. Kind of knows what people are going to ask, can lean on that. And even a guy like Mike McDonald's fresh off it. But I kind of always have this feeling like you, let's just say you are up for a job at 1010. And you're like, hey, man, I got a great opportunity. I go host my own show over there, blah, 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 blah. Well, there's a part of me that's like, oh, that'd be cool. Let's try to help Hamby go get another job, go advance in his career, right? Like that would be where I'd come from, and we'll find the next Hamby here. Like, that's just the natural progression. But I get the sense now a little bit more that I don't think that's what goes on in an NFL building, at least with like a younger coach. I don't think Liam Cohen was sitting there and spending time in December and January. Hey, guys, here's the best way to answer this question when you get asked in an interview. Here's the best way to get. Quite frankly, I don't think Liam Cohen wanted to lose these guys.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not telling you that he blocked them and was rooting against them.
Of course
But I
not.
also don't think he's spending a lot of his time when you're still in the mix, like helping these guys get ready. Where, if you were to have an interview next week in that example I gave you, I think we'd maybe spend a couple hours talking and let's go have some coffee and I'll tell you what you might expect and here's what you might want to say and blah, 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 help you get that. And I think a lot of professions work that way.
Sure.
I would suspect even if you're working for Pete Carroll in Seattle, or now a Sean McVay is such a tree that he might even have like a blueprint and a playbook to help these guys
Yeah.
in interviews, or here's how you get organized for it. But I don't think Liam Cohen's there yet, because
He hasn't had any
everyone
continued
expected that his staff was
success.
going to get rated, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You got to have continued success. And until you do, you got to keep those guys around you for a little bit. I mean, at least more than a year. I mean, my goodness. Especially because
There's a
Cohen.
selfishness involved.
Well, I think, no doubt, but I think it has to do with provenness, just like you were saying. I mean, McVay and Carroll, Andy Reid, all those guys, Harbaugh's, they've proven it. Like, they will always, no matter, they could lose every game the rest of their careers. They're going to go down as good to great NFL head coaches. And not that they still don't have a chip on their shoulder, not that they don't want to win more Super Bowls, have more to prove, but Liam Cohen, in a sense, to him, I guarantee you if you ask him, he hasn't proven anything. It's 1 year. So,
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
So because of that, he has nothing to rely on or depend on if it's all changes. Now, that doesn't mean he wouldn't have a ton of confidence in himself to go find another OCDC, to rely more on himself to win again. I'm not saying that at all, because he definitely would have that type of confidence and borderline ego in himself, no matter who his OC was and his DC is. We talk about that all the time. You have to have that to make it to the top of this profession, especially in the NFL. But that being said, yeah, I think some of the emotional awareness and IQ that we've talked about since the day one of them being hired is, hey, I need these guys. And I'm not afraid to admit that. And as confident as I am in myself that I can do it with whoever is in this building, I want Grant back because I know how to delegate. I know what he's good at. He's good in areas that I'm not good at, or he's better. And I help him out, and we're a tag team, and Campanelli's the leader of the defense and all this good stuff. Like, I need that again. And I'm not afraid to admit that. So whether we need to give these guys more money, again, not blocking them in any sense, but I'm going to make it known to them that I want them here. And I don't think necessarily McVay is doing that. Obviously, those guys know that they're welcome back, that he wants them back, Shula, Shieldhouse. But I think he, like you said, he's pushing them way more than Cohen was pushing Udinski and Campanelli.
Well, I think I don't know about the whole McVay versus Cohen one, but I think the Cohen one that you just brought up is pretty fascinating, because the one nice thing about the NFL is, okay, I can't give those guys promotions, but I can say, attaboy, nice job, appreciate all you're doing. Here's a little bump in pay from Shad Khan. So we're showing you love. So yeah, this might be selfish. I want you here. I want you to do the best you can. I hope you guys are great head coaches for a long time to come. But right now, I would prefer if you're right here, because this is going to help us get where we want to go faster. Yeah. And this is my main concern. So, in that respect, it's like, again, it's same deal. It's like if you're leaving Hamby to go pursue something good for you, in our business, I can't sit here and be like, hey, here's another 20 grand. We don't do that here. That's just not, it's like, go pursue whichever you want to pursue. The other part is, and I think Liam knows this, if you leave Hamby, we'll go get somebody. Nobody's irreplaceable, right? We'll go get somebody. But it's a pain in the ass. We've been working together for 2 years. You know what to do. You know how to get live-in on the Iceman game right now, all this stuff. Well, he's got the same thing, man. I mean, no doubt. They know, they have systems in place. They have communications in place. His offseason is now spent and occupied a little bit by, one, going to find people, and two, getting them up to speed to where they want to be so they can continue to evolve and not take a step back. So the bottom line is, we all know this, in any business, hiring is a pain in the ass, and it can set you back a little bit before you go forward.
And to that point, I actually saw this yesterday. I don't know if it was somebody talking to Sean McVay. It looked like he was on a beach lounging chair on vacation, but he was like, dude, every single year my wife gets pissed at me because we've finally taken a vacation, and then I got to make a bunch of phone calls because my OC is getting hired as a head coach, and I got to go find somebody else. So
yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, Cohen doesn't have to do that this year. I'm sure he's probably pretty happy about that, given how hectic I'm sure his last offseason was.
All right. Hey, let's take a break. All right. Well, the third period starting, we can even show the Iceman. When we come back, speaking of Liam Cohen, I found this article that I wrote a year ago to Liam Cohen. It was a letter to Liam. You know what's funny is I was thinking about this last couple of weeks, and I was like, I don't know if I actually wrote that or just had the idea of writing it. And I went back and looked, and it's on actionnewsjacks.com, actionsportsjacks.com. And so we did write it. And it's funny when I look back on it. I'll even just give you a little bit of insight here. To me, it's kind of corny, the actual concept of the article. but I also think it'll put us back in time of where everybody felt at the moment in January of last year, which is a 180 feel from what it feels like now in Jacksonville. And so I'll share that with you when we come back and see, did he do some of the things? Were we spot on with it? Did we miss something? Because the Jags obviously celebrated a very good season. Jacksonville Icemen trying to celebrate a goal or two. They're down a couple of goals in the third period. It's school day. And looks like some of the kids went to the concession stand. Or the way school day does work, by the way, they go back to school. So it might have been a full house at 10:30, 11:30. And then some of them gradually go back to school for the remainder of the day. So big crowd out there most of the morning for the Jacksonville Icemen morning skate, trying to get a win and get on the scoreboard, as right now they're being shut out for the second consecutive game here at home. Olivia Tassley giving us a look there. And we'll have highlights tonight on Action Sports Jacks on CBS 47 and Fox 30. The letter to Liam a year later when we come back on the Brent and Austen Show on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing is taking their 75-plus years of expertise and expanding to CGC Home Services. Water treatment and plumbing is still a big part of what they do, and now they can do even more for you. Home services like kitchen and bathroom remodeling, showers, sinks, faucets, toilet repair, backflow testing, and the list keeps going. Find all they can do at cgchomeservices.com or give them a call, 904-298-7052. It's a new look and a new name with the same expertise. They've been serving homes like yours since 1946. CGC Home Services, right here in Jacksonville, off St. John's Bluff Road, 904-298-7052. And visit cgchomeservices.com. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
We've been telling you about the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network for over a year now. How to find it, what to see. Simply put, it's TV online. Local sports content all day, every day. Just like this.
Did you always want to make history? Like, think that big, or just say, hey, I want to play in the NFL?
I always say I wanted to play in the NFL.
Cuts it back to her left side, takes a shot, and into the back of the net.
Oh, what a pass.
Oh, my goodness.
What a pass. Say he doesn't make a tackle, you still feel like his presence is felt in every single play.
I did have a sense that they wanted to be bold, that they wanted to make a splash.
It's content you won't find on TV. Find it on actionsportsjacks.com and just sit back and watch local sports all day on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
It's one of the hot spots in the area.
Welcome you to String Sports Brewery out at the beach. Big crowd on hand tonight. The fans are here.
And now the newest hot spot at the beach is open. String Sports Brewery in Jax Beach has opened its doors with rave reviews.
We're going to be fans forever.
Cozy up to the bar, grab a seat in the sports-themed restaurant, or grab a seat outside and feel that breeze coming off the beach as the weather warms. Just like the original location in Springfield, try the popular beer menu and come for lunch or dinner too, because the food is fantastic.
We got a special guest in the house. He's happy. He's feeling good. He's Trayvon Walker.
It's where we hosted Jags Report Live in the football season, and the String Sports Brewery staff can't wait to host you. Hey, welcome back here to String Sports Brewery. And if you haven't checked out the new location in Jax Beach, you got to do it. String Sports Brewery, now with 2 locations in Springfield and now open in Jax Beach on Penman Road.
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jax PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
This has been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports.
There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jax Pal.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. And most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, there's a look at the Jacksonville Jaguars opponents for 2026. And gosh, I just haven't dissected 2026 a lot. I saw this up earlier when Hamby was tossing a break. The home schedule's good. What's interesting is the home schedule is going to be good at 43,000 fans. So limited capacity. I think Baltimore will carry some fans. You get Joe Burrow here. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong side. You get Pittsburgh here. Washington and Philly obviously are traditional big fan bases. Super Bowl participant now, New England Patriots. Obviously have a lot of folks that live down here in the Florida area. I think that will be a big draw. So it's a good home schedule in a year where you got 43,000. As for the road, from a tricky standpoint, I think Chicago could be a real fun game because of obviously Ben Johnson and also Liam Cohen, Trevor Lawrence, and Caleb Williams. I mean, that has prime time written all over it. Maybe I'll get to that in a second if you haven't talked about that already, Hamby. Then the Giants, interesting with Harbaugh, back to Cincinnati again, which seems familiar, back to Denver again. And what are the Baltimore Ravens? And then, of course, everybody's wondering, could it be Dallas on Thanksgiving? I think there's a chance. I don't think I'd say yes, but I think there's a chance because of the good year that the Jacksonville Jaguars had. Why not check a box if you're the NFL and get the Jags playing on Thanksgiving? They're the only team left that hasn't done it, and I think that would be an unbelievable road trip for so many fans. Outside of that, I think the road trip probably people would like to go on that haven't been able to go on in a while might be Chicago. Denver was this year. Baltimore's been a lot. I think people have probably been to MetLife, Giants or Jets if you go on the road for some. So I'm thinking Chicago. The other part of this is which home game will be in London. How many home games will be in London? And remember, the Jags could have as many as 5 home games, I think, over the next 2 seasons. I think I have that right. 5 home games that are played in London due to the construction of the stadium. So the Jags, there's a decent chance, I would think, 2 home games in London this year, and we'll see about 2 or 3 the following year, given the fact that they're going to be in Orlando. Brent Martineau on the road. Austen Lane was on the road at Fight Camp for the first hour of the show. Jason Hamby in the studio holding it all down. We've had Olivia Tassley at the Jacksonville Iceman. Frank Kelleher, president of Daytona International Speedway, stopped by the studio and talked a little Daytona 500. A lot of different things going on. Mr. Hugo said something I thought earlier, and I wanted to see this. I think this was his comment here, where he said he's not geeked up for Super Bowl week at all, basically. For the first time I can remember, I'm burnt out on football and don't really care. And we were talking about that, a little fatigue going on with football. I can't say I'm burnt out on it. I'm fine watching it, and I'll be watching the game. I just feel like there's a difference between getting excited for it and like can't wait for it. And I'm in a different camp. There are a few games that I get really jazzed up about 6 days out, anymore in any sport for that matter. But I'm not super excited about this game. And so I think I feel the way Mr. Hugo feels in that regard. As for, I think he said, just shrunk this on me. Now I got to check out my eyes here, Hamby. Disagree with Brent's "nobody is irreplaceable" comment. This final hour has gone downhill without Casey. Hey, Hamby, I think we finally figured out Mr. Hugo and the whole, remember all the stuff about Hick and when am I going to pay off the song? I actually think it is Casey's burner. This is Casey's burner.
No shot.
Mr. Hugo is Casey.
No way. Dude,
Not a
Casey would
chance?
never put out that much effort, I don't think.
Yeah, wow, that's a shot right there.
No,
See, that
no,
Mr.
not
Hugo's
a shot. Not a shot at all. I think you would agree. Like
Yeah, he'd have to
Casey
deliver every day. You're right.
Casey would tell me, like, dude, go do something. Like, he would say it's not that deep, go do something else. If I was like, Casey, why are you in the chat every day?
Yeah, fair enough.
No
Fair
shot.
enough. That's true. That's a good point. I'm just kidding. It's not his burner, but I don't really think it's his burner. But he does have he's all over the Casey stuff. For sure. I'll have the game on, but playing a game on the Switch or a board game, I'm assuming he's saying. Really? You're gonna be watching the Super Bowl and playing video games? Do a lot of people do that? Do they watch the NFL while playing games?
I don't know. I think you're asking the wrong guy. I mean, I'm on Twitter.
Yep. I know a lot of people multitask, right? And they do two screens. I
Yes,
just
of
didn't
course.
think like
But when there's
that
only
would be-
one, bro, lock in on that freaking plate of chips. Like, let's go, dude. Like, that should be the only thing in your hands. Not the Switch. We're going a couple plates.
I am surprised. Like that's actually that's a fascinating. Before I get to my letter to Liam a year later, I haven't thought a lot about it, but at times I think about how people view the game, and I understand. Like in our business, we're always trying to keep up with the times or whatever else. And for the last however many years, I mean, this goes back now probably 5 to 10 years. We knew the second screen experience was a real experience. And basically that means like you're watching the game on your TV on your couch, but you're still paying attention to your computer. Like you have it on your lap or you've got your phone. And Hamby, that's the way you just said it, right? Like you watch the game and you're on Twitter. So you can comment. And listen, that's the beauty of Twitter. We watch a lot of sports that way and boom. I mean, I think that's a great part of Twitter. That's kind of what I've done on Twitter for years now is, hey, you don't really have to be in the same room as everybody. You don't have to spend money on beer and drinks and everything else. You don't have to buy the round, but you get to talk about the game like you would at the bar.
Right.
And then when it's time to go do your own thing, you can get away from it. Like it's beautiful. Like that's what Twitter is, especially when you're watching a game. But I'm fascinated. And the reason I bring this up is because and when I'm on the road or when I'm at a Jags game, I tweet like crazy during the game. And I really don't know why I started doing that. I think I'm there in the press box. I could just like eat and watch the game and take some notes, but why not have conversation with everybody that's watching the game the same way is kind of what I do. Now there's a little less conversation and more it's evolved into kind of almost give the play-by-play to a degree. It's not real play-by-play, but and I've had a lot of people this year get mad at that because the TV is delayed, so I'm ahead of it. But I'm never really like that. To me is the fascinating part, Amby. That's why I bring this up. Like if you're watching the game and you're on Twitter, like to me, I'm casually on Twitter and I'm watching the game primarily. If I was in your seat, the way people tweet back at me, it's almost like they're just locked into Twitter and peek at the TV. Like, why would you see my tweet before, even if it's 30 seconds before? I feel like I just don't feel like people would be that locked into it that way.
There have been times where I've caught myself. So my normal deal is I'd only go on Twitter or social or any on my phone period during the commercial because I really want to have a good, digest exactly what's happening and experience it that way.
Watch the game.
Yeah, watch the game. Or that, yeah. But there have been times where I've caught myself where like, okay, the pass is incomplete. Like I got 30 seconds. Like it's just like that. Like, so the time actually between Twitter and TV is probably about the same. I mean, because as soon as that ball goes incomplete, I don't care to watch them, run back to the huddle and a crowd shot and all that stuff. Which again, I mean, me personally, I do care for that. Like, I want to not have distractions. That's why I don't check my phone. But I've done it. Like, I've caught myself in it where it's just back and forth. It's one to another, and you both pretty much you're pretty much just like here to here, here to here.
Yeah, that's I guess where I've had a hard time grasping sometimes when people will kick that back to me and be like, I can't believe, like, stop tweeting, hold on. It's like, well, first of all, I can't hold on. The whole next play has already happened. Like, all right, I'm not gonna I can't just. I will now delay it a little bit because I'm not trying to piss anybody off. But I did that one time because people got pissed. So I was like, all right, I'll try this. I'll give you the whole the series instead. And I was like, and then some people didn't like it, whatever. But like, I get that why it would be annoying. I guess my point is, I can't believe it's real time. Like, to me, the Twitter would be the catch up, like you're saying, on a break or when there's a little pause or when a flag gets thrown or whatever, or there's a big play you want to see. Did everybody else see it the way I saw it or something like that?
Right.
But it's not like in real time, like boom, boom, every play. I just didn't really feel like people consumed it that way, but it's proven over the last couple of years when the TV delay is big that people do consume it that way. But I didn't stop. And the reason why I didn't stop it is I also have a lot of people, like a good amount of people, and I don't know what a lot is to you or even to me for that matter, but a significant amount of people that will say, hey, thanks for tweet. I'm at work and I can't watch.
Right.
And so for those people, I'm like, I'm with you. I got you. And I could see that. I could see why people would be at work and they can scroll through their phone, but they can't really, they don't have a TV in there.
Right.
And so they can keep up with it that way. I just think that wild experience. And we've even talked about here on the network of, would there be value in, let's just say it wouldn't be me. Let's just say it's me and you or in Austin on a 1 o'clock on a Sunday while the game's going on. We're watching it, but we're also having the conversation. And people do that on YouTube, and ESPN's tried. I mean, the Manning cast is that, but they get to show the actual game while it's going on. We wouldn't be able to do that. So is there value in that? And I think there might be. I think people don't always have the volume up, don't need the volume up. I feel like you used to want the volume up, and now I don't think people need the volume up with the announce team. I think you could listen to us and communicate with us and go back and forth in the chat while watching the Jags game. I think there might be something there. I just don't know how big that population is.
That one's tough, Brent, because, I would think so that now that people, they don't need the volume, I would heavily disagree with that. I don't know, maybe that's just me. I feel like people will enjoy listening to the announcers and listening to the...
Do they?
Well, as much as they criticize it, I think that way beats the alternative of listening to somebody else. Like, for example, if somebody, I don't think it really matters really who it is. I mean, the only way I think it would work is if it was only during the commercials, as in you're on the whole time, and then as soon as you then you get the dialogue. But when the game's on, you might throw a line in here, a line in there, but you're not talking, and you sure as heck aren't doing play-by-play as much because maybe everybody's TV is not going to line up at the same time, and that's going to be a nuisance. If you're calling it the play as if you're right on time.
We're not going to.
Of course not. But if you're 5 seconds ahead, well, then you've just knocked out a whole bunch of people.
That's a good point.
So that's why I think it would only have to be during the break, which I think there would be something for that. But
what's interesting, you're saying like sound. I get it. Like, I have been like that. I used to tell Ty too when he'd watch games. Ty would be like in the middle of when he was young. He'd be watching a Rays game or something or whatever game. Be like, asking me all these questions. I'm like, Ty, stop asking me questions. Just listen to the announcer. He's going to answer that like right now. So I think it's educational, especially for kids as you're learning games or whoever doesn't know about a game. Or if I'm watching UFC and I don't know a lot about UFC, I want to hear them because they're going to be the experts. Like, I'm going to get information. And we were watching the Australian Open. I'm like, I'm not locked into tennis. I don't even know some of the rule changes in tennis. Like, it's important for me to hear the announcers and the flow and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think in the NFL, like if you take, let's say March Madness or or the NFL, for instance, we could all go to a bar and watch it with the sound off and be fine because we know what's happening.
Of course.
Like we don't need that. So yeah, I just think that part's pretty fascinating. Most announcers suck. They're too worried about what they want to say instead of the game. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's changed over time as well. And I think announcers have become stars and the amount of money getting paid and everything else. And much like anything else, we either love them or hate them. That's why I still really do like Nance. Like Nance, I don't think he conjures up a lot of emotion.
And so Jim Nance is, to finish Brent's thought there, Jim Nance is not the guy who's going to input a lot of information. He's not the Gus Johnson, or he's not going to put a lot of takes in it. At least a lot of people would assume so. But Mr. Hugo says, I never watch Jags games with TV announcers. I mute the TV and listen to the radio broadcast every day. Now, I know that's a very popular thing to do in baseball, and I've done it quite a bit because I like the Braves TV announcers, Brandon Gaudin, TJ Nitkowski, but I also like Ben Ingram, and I think he's great on the radio. And I've listened to so many games in my car that I almost want to just keep that steady voice. Now, that's probably what Mr. Hugo is saying as well, but I don't know, like they're describing things that you don't need described. And for me, that's my personal, I would never, for football, listen to, I would never listen to the radio broadcast just because, again, I don't need them to tell me whether the guy went left or right because I'm seeing that unfold. Now, motions and stuff like that, sure. But, like, if the run went to the right, I know he went to the right. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. We don't have much time left on the Brent and Austen show. But Brent did want to get to his article, Letter to Liam. He wrote it January 27, 2025, shortly after he was brought over from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I remember the story. I don't remember the article. And am I a bad employee for that? A bad teammate, a bad coworker? Maybe. I might be. But I do remember the TV piece he did off of it. So maybe I deserve at least some credit for that. The opening line. Dear Liam, welcome to Jacksonville. You and your family are going to love it. And I'm not going to summarize this whole article for you. But a lot of it is the pros. There he is. Of
I
Liam.
figured this out, by the way. I'm going to interrupt you. But it doesn't matter. Like, see, so in the car, like you got the power. I've got the power in the car. So Starlink's like, it needs power.
Right.
And so I've got that's why I leave the car on. But I can't figure out a way. I think I've said this, like to leave the car on the whole time. Like there's a way to do it. We tried it. It didn't work. So, or at least I wasn't smart enough. So I figure the only way to keep the car on is I got to like keep hitting like the gas pedal. I mean, the brake, just so it knows like you're in the car and it's not going to shut off.
Right.
Well, I think no matter what, I tried it twice today. 45 minutes, it'll shut off. So like it has like a time limit. It doesn't matter if you're hitting the gas, like if you're not going anywhere, if you didn't put it in drive. So I probably should have put it in drive. We're figuring things out here on the road.
I like it. As I was about to get to
pain in the ass.
Well, at least we're getting somewhere. Your 5 big words, Brent, for Liam. You remember what they are or what they were?
Oh, well, I kind of just went to were you diving into the article?
I was.
So, oh boy, I've kind of flipped through the article now, so I know it. It was alignment, identity, relationships, transparency, and messaging. So the idea here, and I don't know how much you set this up, is I wrote this a year ago. This was on January 27th. And have you read any of it yet?
Just the first line.
Okay. I don't know if I should need to read the whole things, but the basically, if you missed, my tease of this about a half hour ago. I feel like looking back on this article, it feels a little corny. Like, wouldn't you agree, Hamby?
I see that.
And it's okay to say it. Like, I'm saying it. Like, I would say that. And I thought about that, and I'm like, well, this was stupid. Like, why did you write this? This was kind of dumb. But I also remember I remember hesitating whether I wanted to write it. And so much so that when I was thinking about it in the last week or so, it came up. I was like, I don't even know if we ever did write it or if I just had the idea to. And so obviously I wrote it and we published it and everything else. But I just felt like at that time, and this is really to me where the beauty of the last year lies, and this is why I wanted to bring it up. It felt messy. It felt like this fan base was disengaged. This fan base was pulling back. The bulky stuff had happened. Liam Cohen had exited, then reversed course and come back. I mean, that was a wild 3 weeks. Doug Peterson was gone. The Jags had any momentum that had happened over the previous year and a half had dissipated in a year and a half. Like, we know all the ingredients. But, like, it was here we go again in Jacksonville, and is this ever going to work? If it didn't work when Doug Peterson, who had won a Super Bowl, and Trevor Lawrence looked like he was playing well in late 22, and the Jags were off to an 8-3 start in 23, and then they flop and then can't fix it. I mean, is it really going to work? What's it going to take? And so that's where the whole Baselli article came from. And on the heels of the Baselli article, there's a lot of the same points in this. And without reading through it, I highlighted the fact that I was like, this part that I'm clicking on, it says, this fan base is awesome. They already have your back. They defend their own. They also demand success. And when you win around here, the scene is pretty awesome. And all we had to do is look back on the last month of the season to notice that.
For sure. I mean, look at All Access.
Yeah, exactly, right? Trevor Lawrence is the perfect franchise quarterback. He says and does all the right things. Jacksonville loves him. He's yet to be fully unlocked in the NFL, but that's why you're here. And as we go back, again, this isn't to tout the article. It's just these were obvious things. I mean, we were saying these things. I mean, everybody who listens to the show, we're saying these things. This wasn't ingenious. This was, I felt like, and I highly doubt Liam Cohen read this, but I think the beauty about Cohen is when we sat down with him for the interview when he was introduced, and even throughout this last year, it almost felt like he had read this article, Hamby. It felt like he knew this stuff. And that's not a year later. That was like almost instantaneous. It was like somebody had told him about the job. Like he knew where the fixes needed to go. And that could have simply been Baselli because Baselli knew all those things. But I think as you look back at something like this and where they were a year ago and to see what they fixed, it's just pretty poignant to me. I said this football team has more talent than 4 wins. Well, guess what? We all thought that and we knew. Right. It's a football team that'll be hungry to get it right. They were. I said the decision coming Jacksonville is a good one. I think Liam would agree. And then I got into the sustaining success. And that's where we get to the alignment, the identity, relationships, transparency, messaging.
The microphone.
I say the microphone. Yeah, because I say that I'll give you a couple little more clips of it before we get out of here. I mentioned you got to find a good GM, obviously, and a good partner and alignment. And that obviously happened. Nice job, Shad and Tony, to find Liam Gladstone and Cohen along the way. I said, I think you have to answer the question, who are the Jacksonville Jaguars? It should be an easy answer, but it's been a riddle for quite some time. What's the identity? Well, I think they came in right away, and I'm not sure they truly lived up to all the things of their identity, but they tried to establish one. And so hats off to them for that, because one thing we did know about this team is they wanted to be physical, and guess what? They were all year. Now, did they always do their FAST acronym to the way they wanted to? No, that changed. And quite frankly, we didn't know if they were a running team or a passing team at times this season. So, but we know they're a physical team, and that's identity, and that's good. I did say the microphone matters in Jacksonville. Everyone's listening. And Hamby, we know this. We've raved about Liam all year. He nailed that part. And to me, that came back to transparency.
Every single time.
He was amazing. You might say the biggest difference between Liam Cohen and Doug Peterson was the podium.
And then they called plays. That's one. And then the podium.
Well, yeah, true. But I mean, the podium is where you speak to the fans.
Of course.
I think this place felt, my wife listened to every press conference for Liam Cohen. Didn't do it for Doug Peterson.
Because he told you
felt
stuff.
like connected. You know, there was a connection that he made, and he was so good. That actually might be a story I'll do.
Well, Brent, it's honestly, going back to the last conversation we had, it's almost like watching a game with the volume up or down. You learned the game. You learned the team. You learned scheme. He took you behind play calls and why it worked and why it doesn't and why it didn't and why he saw this from that player. Like, you learned the game just as much from listening with announcers as you did listening to his press conferences throughout the entire season.
Yeah. The other thing that I really think, this is a hard one for everybody outside the building to understand, but this was critical, and I think the Jags, Baselli's really done a great job of this, but I also believe Gladstone feels this way, and so does Cohen, and this is where Bulky was just bad. This was the Bulky, to me, where he was the worst. And it was basically, hey, go shake hands with people in the building. Those guys have a tough job sometimes. They're working hard. Like, you're all on the same team. And make it feel like you're all on the same team for inside the building, day to day. Ticket guys, to lunch people, to weight room people, like all of that. And I think this regime has done it is a huge jump in that regard, what they've been able to do, but it's not like a one that everybody can feel. I think you just got to know it. And to me, that's where Baselli's made a massive difference. And then I did say, by the way, at the end, if you're going to call plays, call plays. And there was never a doubt about that. I don't think there's ever going to be a doubt about that, that he's going to call plays. So I don't see a change coming. He's not going to hand that off. We did wonder a couple of times in those fourth quarters if he was going to hand it off to Udinsky. And even there, he doesn't. Like, he's still locked in. So anyway, you can find it on actionnewsjacks.com. I probably should resurface it a little bit. And listen, we've been around the team. This isn't about being right or wrong. Like, we knew this stuff. Like, we felt pretty good about some of the stuff that needed to be fixed in Jacksonville. And I just say hats off to Shad for making the right moves. I know it took a while, but really to Tony Baselli, Gladstone, and Cohen for executing the things and finding the feel for it immediately at the things that were right in front of our face that they weren't doing well in this organization. And so hopefully that leads to sustained success. That would be the next stop. But letter to Liam, a little corny, but in hindsight, he delivered. Maybe he did read it. Maybe he did. Not as good as my Baselli article.
For sure.
That one's a bestseller. But still something new I look back on. All right. Club 904 coming up. Lee O'Brien up next. Talent Talk at 2 o'clock. All Ospreys all the time for an hour. You can find it on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. CBS 47, Fox 30 later tonight. The entire Action Sports Jacks team all over the place. We'll talk Daytona. We'll talk Iceman. Talk a little Underwood Cup and golf as well. And the latest from the Pro Bowl and Super Bowl. Have a good rest of your Tuesday, everybody. See you back in studio on Wednesday. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home,